We are qualifying here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 500, and Ryan Hunter-Reay is on the racetrack. There are 2 spots remaining open. 31 cars have clocked in, and Ryan Hunter-Reay, one of those members of Andretti Autosport, struggling in the 500 qualifications.
Yeah, you heard Mario talk with us yesterday that they thought they found something with John's car that was going to help all 3 of the Andretti cars.
Lap 1, 223.765.
I think they were expecting probably a little bit better than that. As you can see by Marco's reaction there, I think Marco was hoping for a lot better than that.
Well, because most likely he's running Marco's setup, because they would put each of the cars on what they thought they found with John Andretti, and when all of a sudden he sees that number, he goes, man, that's going to be my number 2 if we don't find something else.
And it was a pretty good run. I mean, John had a good run. He found a lot of speed when he made his qualifying run yesterday, or his last qualifying run, I should say. So they were really hoping that that they were going to find at least a couple of miles per hour in this change.
Just a little bit quicker on lap 2. Former Rookie of the Year here in Indianapolis, and won the Grand Prix of Long Beach in 2010. He started 3 previous races here at Indianapolis. Danica Patrick, Ryan Hunter-Reay's teammate, has yet to qualify.
Should be back to 23.6-ish.
1 more lap to go, and we're told that rain could be as close as a half hour. 223.564, 3rd lap for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Well, that would be the saving grace for him anyway. It would be rain, but not for those that haven't run.
Yep. Best start here in Indianapolis for Ryan Hunter-Reay was 17th in 2010. Finished 6th in 2008. And his run is over.
Checkered flag.
And 1 spot remains open. Ryan Hunter-Reay with an average of 223.690. There are 2 cars slower than him in the field right now, Rafael Matos and Alex Lloyd. And speaking of Alex Lloyd, let's talk with him.
Alex, if you can or have to go back out, is there more in you or in the car?
Well, I don't know really. I mean, we were pretty good Fast Friday. It seemed like we'd be looking like we might get in on day 1. Yesterday we lost a mile an hour, and today we've lost another mile an hour. So we're just going slower and slower, and we're not really sure why. I mean, that was a reasonably balanced car. You know, full chat, nothing left in the table from my side, and we're going slower. We went slower than we qualified yesterday, and I think the conditions are probably a little better right now. So we're going to have to go back and take a look at it. We'll definitely have to go again. There's no way that'll hold up, and we're going to have to try and hope for some miracle that we find some speed that we don't know what's going on. There's something going to be wrong, because every run that we're doing, we're getting a chunk slower. So and we're not sure how or what to do to fix it right now. So we don't have much time to take things apart and take a look, but with the little time that we got, we'll go over everything again as we have been doing, see if we can find where this speed's vanished.
A frustrated Alex Lloyd, Kevin.
Pippa Man is entertaining us down here. What are you doing? What are you doing? And we're looking at Mike Conway's run, by the way, as well.
I'm doing a little rain dance down here at the moment. It's we had a fairly good run out there. It looks like there's rain coming in. I wish we'd been braver and sent it at -4 now, because I now know it would have stuck. But this morning and yesterday afternoon, we just had a really not very fun time. So I'm praying this is fast enough. Come on, please make it be fast enough. Please make it be fast enough.
You're faster than 4, though, so far, so you got a little cushion, but this is going to be, if it doesn't rain, an agonizing 3+ hours.
If it doesn't rain, we're probably going to have to go again and wind the wing out of it and hope it doesn't rain while we're on the run and the driver doesn't make any mistakes, but we're going to hang on and see what happens.
All right, good luck. Pippa Man, Bob.
The driver involved in an incredible crash in the closing stages of last year's Indianapolis 500 hopes to become the 33rd driver to qualify for this year's 500. Lap 1 complete. Lap 1 is 223.263.
But see, you talked after talking to Alex and Pippa, Pippa can take another degree out of the wing. They're confident. I mean, she likes her car and can take that wing out, where Alex, they don't have a clue where they're going to find the speed.
And that's the same for Michael Andretti as he looks on for Mike Conway. As we heard from Mario, we've heard from each of their drivers that they're already on that limit. And for Mike Conway, this is certainly, now this is a better lap, however. He has been gaining some. This will be 2 to 3 tenths of a mile an hour quicker.
223.579 on the second lap. Indeed, a little quicker for Mike Conway.
And that also confirms, because we surmise that Mike Conway may have been hanging back and not really pedaling it until he started to get some stability. And now he is kind of wringing this car out in a very similar time to his teammates. So at one time you wonder, okay, after that big crash, is he spooked? But he's bringing it home right now.
One more, Mike. One more.
Yeah, their times are very similar to Hunter Ray's times right now. And like I said, you know, Marco and Danica are looking at this and shaking their heads right now. This is not what they want to see.
Well, two things they don't want to see: that speed and the rain.
I don't want to see the rain either.
No, no one does, other than Pippa, man.
Yeah. All right, Conway about to complete the run here as Michael Andretti continues to scratch his head and wonder what in the world is going on that we can't find speed.
Checker flag, Mike. Checker flag.
223.415. Average 223.449. The field is filled for the 500, and now we begin the bumping on the bubble as Rafael Matos and one driver doing a rain dance, hoping for the rain, is Pippa Mann. She's in, but on at least the chance of getting bumped.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, James Jakes on the speedway right now, and you can imagine the tension for the drivers. There are 4 after Jakes that have to go to get in a time today, and they've all been told that weather is on the way. It's as close as 15 to 25 minutes away from the racetrack right now. There are some very nervous drivers down here pacing as they get ready to get into their cars. I just talked to Paul Tracy. I said, does that make you more nervous the weather's headed here? He said, you know what? It's just Indy, man. I'm used to it. Bob?
I'm surprised he didn't just punch you, Marty.
Thank you, Wally. That's what you would have done. But Paul Tracy is a nice man, unlike you.
James Jakes is off the pace of it's going to take to get into the field. That's a 221.210 on lap number 1. He has to average 223.2. Now that we have filled a field of 33, the slowest average is on the bubble, except for the top 9 from yesterday. And if you decide that you're in the field but want to requalify and try to do better, you must withdraw your time and put somebody else back in the field. Second lap, 221.885. Faster for James Jakes, but not nearly fast enough to get into the field. He was almost into the wall.
Yeah, isn't this so where, Jan, I mean, you pull it, you throw the yellow and get back in line, make a change and get back in line?
Yep.
Because this could be his last run. I mean, it could,
except
never
for the
know
fact
the weather,
that he is a rookie, and getting a feel for the car in 4 laps might benefit him in some way. But, I suppose sportsmanship-wise, Dale Coyne's been around here a long time, and when there's people waiting to go out that have speed and rain is coming, I'm surprised they haven't waved him off yet.
Nice big entry. Nice big entry.
Third lap is 222.092. Owner of the car is Dale Coyne.
Now, I suppose because there is 33, you would stay with it and be 34th in case someone pulled a time and then it rained, like what happened last year. So it's still not bad to be sitting 34th just in case.
Well, you may be 34th for about 3 minutes.
But I'm just saying, with rain coming, you don't want to be ending up like Paul Tracy and Jay Howard like last year.
I think, but the racer in here is going to say, you know what, we can make this car faster. Let's bring this thing in and change it. And
I'm just saying that for Dale Coyne, leaving him out there and completing the lap is, there's some wisdom behind it. Brief.
All right. Okay. If you say so.
Did they show the yellow flag on that? Our scoring monitor says they did, that the 4th lap did not count. So if that's the case, then he doesn't have anything to fall back on.
There you go.
And so much for your wisdom.
I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to.
Well, conversation, I got you.
Lindy, let's talk to Charlie.
Charlie, you told me you feel safe. Is that because of the iffy weather or because of your speed?
Well, either or. But the 83 Levemir Novolog FlexPen car has been solid all month. We missed it yesterday morning. We didn't think that time was going to be quick enough, and then the rain caught us out on our run at the end of the day. Having said that, I think we've got a little more in the tank if we need it, but as a rookie, the whole Novo Nordisk Chip Ganassi Racing crew has been really smart about giving me a good car all month.
What number are you looking for?
We were looking for a 224.5, so a 224.49 or something I think is pretty good. If we get through to 10 cars bumping, I'd like to be able to run pretty close to 6 o'clock when it's cooling off. Having said that, I don't know that we'll quite get there.
And Saavedra is on the track right now, Bob.
Yep, Sebastian Saavedra, who was the very first car out yesterday to qualify at 11 o'clock, is on the racetrack. He has been above 224, but only had a 221.526 yesterday. This will be the second attempt for this car, but the first today. Rafael Matos is on the bubble. The speed that must be exceeded is 223.270. And there's a comparison to the bubble, and the number up there in the upper right is red, so that means that he's not quick enough. It's a 223.272. which is exactly 1 mile an hour slower than it is going to take to get into this field as an average.
So now we'll find out if his team owner, Eric Bachelart, is thinking a similar strategy to what Dale Coyne was thinking. Now, we never saw Dale Coyne raise a yellow flag, but it went yellow. That can come from the stewards. If they think that rain is coming and they want to pull somebody off the track, I'm not saying it did, but it can come from race control. It doesn't always have to come. They can pull people.
Or if they don't think they're going to make the show, they can also pull. If there's 3 laps and they're already too slow to make the field,
right?
They'll throw the yellow to give somebody else another shot. You're talking about sportsmanship.
Correct.
The racing league is looking at that as well.
Kevin.
Well, as we get down to the point where we have everybody that is not in the field gone through, and we start to get the people that are in the field thinking about withdrawing and going back out, they have to think about the weather. There are several that are in line that feel like they can do better and feel like they have to do better, but that's going to be the real dilemma. Do you pull out and then the rain could come and you may be out of luck?
Yep. Can you imagine an Indy 500 without Danica Patrick or Marco Andretti? That's a situation that we are looking at right now. It's not going to be a successful attempt for Sebastian Saavedra. He is not going to be fast enough to bump Rafael Matos out of the field. And so Rafa has survived 2 bullets here from James Jakes and Sebastian Saavedra. Here's a checkered flag for the Colombian driver. And the 4th lap is 222.126, and the average for Sebastian Saavedra is 222.284 miles an hour. There's the owner of the car and former driver here at the Indianapolis 500, Eric Bachelart. And here is Marco Andretti.
Boy, this could be it. I mean, this possibly could be his last run today.
Paul Tracy, Danica Patrick, both in line.
There's always drama. There's always some very well-known team and driver who has not made it in here in the late stages of the day, and Marco Andretti is on that list right now as he is on his warm-up lap. He's been above 226, almost 227 in practice earlier this week.
Now, my prediction is that he'll make it in solidly, but he may make it in with a speed that's going to keep him nervous. I mean, the speed right now to get in is definitely doable, but the speed to stay in, for him, that's going to be hard.
Yeah, I think you have to be at 224 to be comfortable right now. Even a high 223, because what you have to look at is if they get a shot to run at 6 o'clock, you know, those speeds are, the track and the conditions could give you that mile per hour later on in the day.
Green flag, green flag.
His third attempt yesterday was his fastest. He averaged 224.074 for 4 laps. But the pressure right now is on the shoulders of Marco Andretti.
Boy,
finished
right now,
second.
it doesn't look good.
Yeah, finished second in his first 500. Almost won it. Sam Hornish Jr. passed him coming out of turn 4.
229 it showed there going into turn 3, top speed. That's pretty strong. See, he has not come off the throttle at all.
This will be a high 223s. Just what you predicted, Wally.
223.686. That's good enough.
If you can put 3 more of those together.
Tracker at the bottom of your screen shows that he's right now 31st and in the field if he can hold it together for the next lap and a half. Or 2.5.
Needs to be close to 230 in this region.
Pretty close.
Yeah, you saw the 29 briefly. It's 29.9 officially. That's pretty close to 230. This one should be slightly better.
Second time.
It is better. 223.703. Lap number 2 for Marco Andretti. Rafa Matos on the bubble. And it appears as if he is about to be knocked off if Marco can complete the run. And then after Matos on the bubble would be Mike Conway, who is Marco's teammate at Andretti Autosport. White flag comes out for Marco.
White flag, white flag.
That's where you get into a situation where it's a very good possibility your teammate can knock you out of the race.
Yeah. A little bit slower on lap number 3, down to 223.6. Cloudy day here in Indianapolis. Heavy rain earlier. We're expecting more before the afternoon is over. The question is, how long will it be before it rains? And can we have more cars attempt to get into this field? Danica Patrick is not yet in. Here's the checkered flag for Marco Andretti. And the 4th lap is 223.708. He is in. Conway, however, now is on the bubble. The average speed for Marco Andretti is 223.688.
And look how close that is from his teammate, Hunter Ray. Run a 223.690.
There's Rafa Matos. He is out of the race, and Lindy's with Mike Conway.
I know you want your teammate to make it, but now you're on the bubble. Based on the problems you've had, do you think you can get a better speed out there?
I think we get a little bit more out of it, yeah. I mean, you know, we're not completely trimmed yet, but we're pretty much there. You know, there's only a tiny bit we can get, I think. And we can just get the balance a teeny bit better, and I think we'll be quicker. But I'm not sure we'll creep in the 224s, which, you know, would have been a lot more comfortable for us. But, yeah, we got to see what we got. I mean, at least we've done one run now. We know what we have, and we can work on that.
Paul Tracy about to head out. Let's talk about Danica real quick. What do you expect from her?
I expect a good time. I mean, she was pretty quick most of the week, and she just lost a little bit of speed in qualifying. We think we maybe figured out why. So I'm expecting her to do a good time. Hopefully she'll get in, and hopefully we can all get in. But
what do you think it was?
Just a couple of things we did overnight, and can't quite tell you, but hopefully it's worked.
Thank you, Mike. And Bob, we are feeling a little bit of sprinkles down here.
Oh, my goodness. Danica's next in line, but she is not in the field yet, and Paul Tracy hopes to get in to his 7th Indianapolis 500.
They'll have to physically pull him off the track, even if it does rain right now.
All right, here's a green. Yesterday, he had an average of 224.353, and that would have been,
very high line right there.
Yeah,
but he's squeezing everything out of it. He's not going to scrub off any speed on this lane. And I tell you what, he's got a pretty good run going right now.
He has a great run going. Personal best into turn 1. Marty?
Guys, real quick, the rain picking up just a little bit. Anna Beatrice and Justin Wilson have now pulled out of line. Next in line, as you mentioned, Danica Patrick, and after that, Ryan Hunter-Reay in line as well.
And Paul Tracy, look at the tracker down there.
And this should be a 225.
Wow.
So this is very, and again, he's got to finish it. But a great start for Paul Tracy.
It is. It's a 225.015 for Paul Tracy.
Look at Tracy. He just uses all the racetrack right here. He's trying not to scrub off any speed. He's just trying to make that car as free as possible around this racetrack. He's just got to get 3 more in.
Understand there is some rain reported in turn 4. Some sprinkles. If it's heavy enough, they'll turn on the yellow. Again, a high exit off of corner number 3 for Paul Tracy, the 2003 Champ Car World Series champion. Failed to qualify last year, fell victim to bump day. Here's lap number 2 complete. It's just a little faster, 225.051. Danica Patrick waits to get onto the racetrack.
Really a good run right here for Paul Tracy. This will put him in very solid.
Yep.
It's the whole sprinkle phenomenon that gets you so worried. He's going to hold the pedal down, but all of a sudden you get to one of these corners and you've got some precipitation. But right now, Paul Tracy, this team, wow, fantastic job if he can keep with it. This one will be just under 225, but still very fast.
Dreyer and Reinbold, the entrant on the race car. The white flag drops. Lap number 3 is down a little into the 224 mile an hour barrier, 224.858.
But he actually went quicker into turn 1.
Finished second here at the Indianapolis 500 in 2002. We'll let that lay where it might. And his best start was 7th. That was in 1993 here at Indy. And the rain is going to hold off for Paul Tracy. He's going to complete the run off of the 4th corner onto the straightaway. Here's the checkered flag, and Paul Tracy is in. Mike Conway is out. The average for Paul Tracy. It is a great job. 224.939, and he is way up in the 9th row. Conway is out. On the bubble now is Alex Lloyd at 223.472. And this is just an excellent performance by the Canadian Paul Tracy. Robbie Buell, of course, a part owner of this race team, and you could tell that he's going to be very happy when he comes down as he's checking, and the yellow light is on for rain.
Oh, Larry Curry. Yeah.
Way to go.
And Robbie Buell stopped by here a moment ago and said it's much more nerve-wracking down on pit road. Marty?
Yeah, guys, and Danica Patrick had her car fired up. She was ready to go at the last minute, right when the checkered flag flew for Paul Tracy. Brian Barnhart stepped in front of the car. They shut the car off. She is the last car that needs to go today, that is scheduled to go today without a rerun. Danica has not gotten to qualify today, and she sits here waiting, praying for this rain to end.
And Marty, it's worth noting, because we had to talk it through this morning, there are no guaranteed attempts on the second day. She's already had her guaranteed attempt. If for some reason it continued running, that would be it.
And you could see the heavy ground clutter that's headed our way.
I think that's rain. It took 2 hours and 15 minutes to dry the track earlier today, and we are, 2 hours and 45 minutes away from the closing of the track for good, and Danica Patrick is not in the field. And the car was running, but then the yellow came on for moisture on the racetrack. The drama continues, and this year it is being played out by Danica Patrick. There's Brian Barnhart, and I'm sure he's checking.
Pit out here, guys. Let me know.
Yeah, he's checking with the observers around the track to see what the rain situation is.
Okay, got some rain in 4. We're going to sit here.
You can see the raindrops on the on the umbrellas there above Michael's pit cart.
Okay. Copy. We got sprinkles at pit out right now too, so we're on a hold.
And I tell you, the Speedway does such a great job of making sure that the track is safe before anybody goes out on this racetrack.
Paul Tracy thinking, "Whoo, did I dodge a bullet there?"
He's got to be a happy guy. It isn't like it isn't like it was last year when he sweated it out and didn't make it. This year he is solidly in the 500, and the people begin to scatter.
Ollie?
Yes, sir.
Derek Daly and I are walking along here. It was 1987. What year was it, Derek? 86. He had 3 laps and it's solidly in the field. Lap 4, it's a downpour. He misses the show. Yeah. And I remember Tom Sneva qualifying here the very first year in 74. It starts raining as he's going through the short chute, and he finishes his lap sliding through the thing and makes the race. So, you know, it's happened before, but maybe not like this.
Yeah. No, it's just funny. It's almost like this storm's come through, and then all of a sudden we have blue skies and the sun comes out, and it's like, okay, we've got it behind us. But I mean, it is just nerve-wracking for these drivers.
You know,
you try to explain what it's like. I mean, those of us who fly, it's kind of like, you know, you're going to miss your connection and you're not going to get home times 1,000.
Yep.
I mean, that's the kind of stress that these guys are going through right now.
Well, Lindy, what does Paul Tracy have to say about this whole thing?
Well, pretty much just in the nick of time is what he says, but you started to notice the rain out there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I started lap 3 and I could see some misting on my visor, and I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like thinking to myself, what else can happen to us? And then the last lap, it was really starting to get some rain on the visor in 1 and 2, and the car was kind of sliding a little bit, and it scrubbed off, you know, from 225.0s to 224.8s because the car was starting to slide. You could feel the moisture, and I was like, what's going to happen to us next? Because this, you know, this track has dealt me a pretty tough deck in my career, so we're just happy to get the Wix car in. I got to thank Wix and Motegi Wheels and Arma Energy and everybody that's come on board to help this program. Just the monkey's off our back now, and we're in there pretty safe.
Yeah, it seemed you were flying there inside row 9 now.
Yeah, no, I'm real happy with the team. They did a great job. You know, we had that kind of speed in the car all week, but when we went out to qualify, we missed the setup on a couple small things and missed the gear ratio, and that, I mean, it doesn't take hardly anything to kill the speed of the car. So, you know, we've been running 225s every single day, so we're right where we need to be. We would have liked to have been on the first day, but you know, I always like to make things a little bit dramatic. So, not that I want it that way, but it just ends up that way.
Better late than never. Thank you, Paul. And a far cry from talking to him at this day last year, Bob.
Yeah, he's relieved, I'm sure.
When you think about Paul Tracy, you think about Dennis Reinbold, you think about Robbie Buell, his owners. All 3 cars are in. Michael Andretti, 2 cars sitting on the outside looking in at this point.
That's right.
That's amazing.
There's a look at the 9th row. Inside, Paul Tracy, Ryan Briscoe in the middle, and Charlie Kimball on the outside. That is, of course, the provisional row number 9. Kevin is with Marco.
And he currently sits 30 seconds, so 1 cushion between you and the bubble. Would you prefer just to see it rain and we go home?
Oh man, I'd be torn for my teammates, you know, but you know, being selfish, obviously, but you know, I think we might have a little bit more in it, you know, but I don't have the answer right now.
And he's got to talk with some engineers now. They're still kind of gathering their game plan and what the other scenarios are. Marty?
Well, let's talk to Brian Barnhart, Kevin, who's talking to the tower right now. And Brian, what are we looking at right here?
Well, we got one cell that's obviously dropped some stuff on the racetrack here and shut us down for a little bit, and hopefully it'll be like it's been with these others. It'll be a quick blow through, and then the IMS crew will get back out there and we get the track dried off again. Right now, the conditions has taken about an hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes to get us dried. If we can get back to that and resume qualifications, we'll do our best to make that happen.
I know you would have loved to have let Danica go there, but it got too wet too quick, right?
Well, it does. It's one of the toughest calls to make on this thing. I mean, I was borderline letting Paul finish his run, but you got to balance out the safety aspect with what they got on the line and trying to make the, you know, the 100th anniversary of the inaugural 500. He's out there hanging it out and he's running 25s, and at the same time, he always knows that if he feels unsafe, he can come back and be at the head of the line with a non-attempt. But knowing what the weather is, he's not going to do that either. So it's kind of a very tricky situation for him, and Paul did a heck of a job.
Brian, traditionally it has been a gun at 6 o'clock and it's been over with. Would you consider extending this with daylight savings time and maybe going a little bit longer to ensure that at least Danica gets her run?
Well, I mean, it's tough to do that, guys, and we still got, you know, close to 3 hours left here. Let's see what this cell does, and like I say, try and get track time out there. We gotta do our best to get the track back and let everybody have another chance to run and be the best situation for everyone.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you,
Bob.
Danica Patrick remains in her car, but as Brian indicated, the track got pretty wet, and it's going to take a while before we can get this track dried enough to resume qualifications. Danica Patrick is not in this year's Indianapolis 500 field, but the field is full. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and unfortunately the rain has begun once again. We'd like to tell you about some upcoming events here on Versus. Tuesday, don't forget IndyCar Open Wheel Weekly at 4 o'clock. Friday is Carb Day. We will have the final practice for the 33 drivers in this year's Indy 500. The Firestone Indy Lights Freedom 100, and then the Izod Performance Pit Stop Competition. That begins at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we'll also be involved in the presentation of the 500 Festival Parade at 5 o'clock on Saturday. And the Indianapolis 500 will be on ABC at 11 o'clock a week from today. Danica Patrick once again has helmet on and is staying in the race car, but the track is just a little bit too wet.
And Bob, the amazing thing here, Al Unser Jr. coming up to talk to her. Of course, he works with the stewards in race control. She's getting some radio communication. The amazing thing here, Danica Patrick's car failed tech. She had an earlier place in line and had to give that up and go to the tail end. The final person in the draw today was Paul Tracy. She is the first car back in line, so she had to pull her position out because for some reason this car did not pass the first time through tech. This is very similar to the situation we had with Ganassi team yesterday, not getting the cars all the way full of fuel, costing possibly a pole position. Now a failed tech. Who knows? Keeping her out of the Indy 500. Wow.
That would be big. Very big. Michael Andretti is worried, to say the least. Marco is in, but not all that solidly. He is right now the second slowest and second on the bump list with a 223.688. On the bubble is Alex Lloyd, 223.472. Alex Unser Jr. breaking off the conversation with Danica, and she's going to loosen the belts and it looks like climb out of the car. Let's take a look at the field as it stands. The front row, Alex Tagliani, Scott Dixon, and Oriol Servia. In row number 2, Townsend Bell, Will Power, who has won all pole positions so far this year except for Indianapolis. He will start in 5th, and then Dan Weldon.
And Dan Weldon, boy, did he get an attaboy from both Dario Franchitti and Scott Dixon, saying that he needed to be in the all-time top 33. They say he can really pedal it around here.
How about Franchitti sitting there? Ran out of fuel on his qualifying run. But, you know, those guys obviously had a shot of being on the front row.
The fastest rookie, J.R. Hildebrand, will start outside of the 4th row. He will be occupying that row along with Vitor Meira and Takuma Sato. Back in row number 5, James Hinchcliffe, another rookie, with Bertrand Baguette. And I guess if there was a big surprise to me, it would have to be Baguette. I mean, with his little oval experiences he has, came here and really did a fine job.
And they tuned him up on Fast Friday. All of a sudden they said, what happened to Baguette? But he delivered in qualifying.
There's another surprise back there. Row 6 on the inside, Castro Neves.
Yeah.
Everybody expected him to be up there at about the top front 2 rows.
And based on what we're doing right now, it's about an hour and a half to dry it. So we'll get back out here. We'll give you a shot on this thing. So just go out there, relax. You'll be all right.
There you go. It's going to be at least an hour and a half because the rain is continuing to fall. So Danica's going to jump out of the race car.
Man, and there's a million things going through your head right now as race car driver. I mean, because you're hoping what Brian Barnhart said is true, but you don't know. I mean, it could rain for the rest of the day. It's one of those moments when you're a driver, you really don't want to talk to anybody. Just want to be by yourself and get through this. Because you're helpless. There's nothing you can do.
Hoping that Danica will talk with us, but if she doesn't, we understand completely that there are other things to think about here in the closing 2.5 hours on bump day.
I wouldn't want to talk to us. I wouldn't want to talk. Like I said, I wouldn't want to talk to anybody. This is when, as a driver, there's so much pressure on you right here, and you're in a situation where you're not in the biggest race of the year, Indianapolis 500, biggest race in the world, and that's out of your control, and all you're hoping for is a shot at it.
The fans are giving her encouragement, obviously.
And from a crew's standpoint, they're just thinking, oh, it's got to dry. You know, because if this not passing tech thing ends up biting us,
them, right?
They're like, yeah, come on, let's dry. And we also know from her teammates that they all expect that she does have the speed. Just if she can get out, she'll be fast.
Well, she goes back to her garage area in Gasoline Alley. Michael remains on the pit box here on pit lane. But what a miserable month in many ways it has been for Michael Andretti. The Rafael Matos team and Rafa has been bumped from the lineup. In fact, there is one ahead of him in terms of speed.
Yeah, I want to go out. Yeah, even I can read that.
Yeah, really.
Nice.
All right, well, we'll wait out another rain shower here at Indianapolis. Rafa Matos hopes to get back out and get back in the field.
Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway bump day. Raining right now. The field is full. Michael Andretti here has 3 cars in, 2 are out. Let's start with Danica. She's not had an opportunity today. A tech issue. She missed her spot in line. Was it just a minor issue and they went back to the back of the line? What happened?
Yeah, I guess it was. It was just a bit of a miscue, I guess, and got sent to the back of the line, and which cost her because she would have been in because she would have been her first one to qualify, or second one to qualify, which would have put her in, you know, before the rain. And now the weather is just really screwing us.
It's one thing to deal with this with one car with one driver. If you're the driver, what about dealing and thinking about 5 different situations? You've got 2 that are not safe and 2 trying to get in.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough situation right now. It's as tough as I've ever been at this moment. It's probably the low moment of my career of ownership right now.
Does Mike Conway have enough speed if we get dry and get to go back out?
Yeah, I mean, if he would have just kept his lap on his last lap, he lost a 1/10 of a mile an hour. If he would have kept that, he'd be in right now. That's how close it was on the last lap. So, you know, we think he can, you know, get a little bit more out of it. So.
Okay, that's Michael Andretti. It's just a light sprinkle here, but the track is wet. We're no sooner than an hour and 15 minutes away, if it stopped right now, from being able to qualify again.
3 of Michael's 5 cars are in. The fastest, John Andretti, then Ryan Hunter-Reay and Marco Andretti on the back row right now. But Conway got bumped, and Danica Patrick is next in line, but not yet in the starting field for this year's 500-mile race. Well, a week ago yesterday, the first day that the track was officially open for practice for this year's Indianapolis 500, there was added enjoyment back in the plaza area because an incredible display of old cars was there, and it was something to see. Take a look.
We're here with the the celebration of autos, the 100-year anniversary, of course, of the track. There are 270 classic cars.
It's just phenomenal that they have all of these cars out here, and for people like me who are gearheads to be able to see what the cars were like 40, 60 years ago, it's just phenomenal.
It's a great Gatsby car where the very rich gentleman would pull up in front of the country club and go golfing.
It's a 1931 V12 Cadillac Roadster. It's one of the most exciting things I've ever done.
I'm just a racing enthusiast. I love the cars, and it's really cool to bring my kid out here and let him see all of this history.
This car is a 1911 National, and Indianapolis was a great place to build a race car. And so the president of the company, Arthur Newby, was one of the 4 founders of the Indianapolis Speedway. And with a bit of a home court advantage, they entered 3 cars in the 1911 Indy 500, and this was one of those cars that finished 7th in that first race. In 1912, they won the race. To think what it must have been like to have driven 500 miles in a car like this on a track that was nowhere near as smooth or as cooperative as the track is today.
If I could have the keys, I would take that one.
I couldn't pick a favorite out of there if I had to. I like them all.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
It's spectacular.
It's amazing.
It's right below the Indy 500 to me.
So far, that big purple one that just went by, that was amazing.
It's a sexy car.
I want that one. I want that one. I want that one. And I want that one.
A lot of my friends call it the Smile Mobile because wherever it goes, people smile and wave.
Well, if you are a fan of automobiles, that was a memorable day here at the Speedway. Just part of the Centennial celebration. There is the official pace car for this year's running of the 500. It will become a classic car someday, and of course, it will be driven at the start of this year's Indy 500 by 4-time winner A.J. Foyt. Well, on race day morning, Izod is going to present the Hot Wheels Fearless at the 500. A driver is going to attempt to break the world record distance jump of 302 feet in a 4-wheeled vehicle 80 minutes before the start of this year's race. We won't know who the driver is. He's going to be masked, and so nobody is going to know who it is, but they're going to winch the truck up to the top of that platform, and down they will go, and hopefully will set a new world record distance jump exceeding 302 feet. Any takers, Jan, Wally?
I'd do it.
Yeah?
I'd try it.
There's not a whole lot of landing area there. I hope he makes it.
That looks pretty fun, actually.
Yeah?
I don't know, but getting up there is probably the scariest part.
This is the last year for this current chassis in the Izod IndyCar Series. Next year, we will have brand new cars and brand new engines, for that matter. Robin Miller spent some time with Tony Kottman, and we will go through the new chassis piece by piece when we return to Indianapolis. Rain continuing to fall here at Indianapolis. The field is full. Danica Patrick is not in the field. Well, recently on IndyCar Open Wheel Weekly, we had a chance to go through the brand new chassis that will be in the Izod IndyCar Series next year. Tony Kottman and Robin Miller took a thorough look at that new car.
Tony, I want to say this is your baby, and when I walked in here, it was pretty breathtaking because I didn't expect to see something this radical, this zoomy, and just kind of, when you saw it for the first time painted, your reaction was, I created this beauty.
No, that's definitely a lot different than it painted than it was not painted, and obviously some of the features on it really stand out. So Delara have done a phenomenal job.
Well, just talk about how do we get this is just a concept that could end up being for the Indy 500, let's say. How did it get to this shape?
Well, obviously the front of the car is not going to change. The higher nose, the sculpted underside of the monocoque, and the shape of the underwing, that's all not going to change, and that was really created in the wind tunnel. Dallara spent a lot of time on aero stability and what the car's like in yaw, so when it's turned sideways, and that entire shape was created from the wind tunnel.
Tony, last summer the Iconic Committee, Tony Purnell and yourself, you guys came up with a way to have some diversity but not cost a fortune. So Dallara built the tub, and everybody's going to have what part of this new car? What will everybody have?
Everybody will have the same monocoque, so basically from this split line forward, everybody will have the identical components. Seating position, room, everything inside the cockpit will be the same. Obviously, a lot of adjustability for short and tall drivers, a little more than the previous car, and the width of the monocoque is a little wider than the previous car as well. So looking at it, it's a little taller, a little wider.
What are the areas of creativity? Where can Lotus, Honda, General Motors, where can they go?
So on this particular vehicle, we've designed a really sleek, small aero kit that's primarily probably built for the Speedway. But all the way out to the edge of the underwing here, this would all be within the guideline of the rules. So you can explore any region from the monocoque to the edge of the underwing, all the way back through the rear wheels, up onto the rear wing. So you can see there's a lot of room for freedom, a lot of room for aero development. And that's what this platform is about. It's about allowing people the freedom to design as they wish, dream as they wish, and come up with a superior product than others. That's what drives competition.
What else is this going to do?
That's really primarily all about drag. Other than signage and sponsorship, that's all about drag reduction.
And climbing.
When we get to stopping cars wheel to wheel or running up on each other, that's why the reason that the underwing's so wide, it comes out to the edge of the wheels. And the same with this device behind the wheel. That's built in such a way that the nose hits it at a certain height and stops wheel to wheel, kind of like Mike Conway's accident in Indy last year, helps to avoid those sorts of incidences. This whole rear structure, the attenuator, the rear wing main plane or the rear wing assembly, and this bumper, this rear area, is all detachable, just like the nose would be. 2 quick releases, comes off, replace the rear. I mean, you could argue that it's probably a little bit like a sports car looking at the rear, but it's functional, looks exceptional, I think, and at the end of the day, if we can stop the wheel to wheel, then it's achieved what we really want to do.
All these people are asking questions. Okay, if I have a Honda engine, can I have a Chevy aero kit or can I have a Lotus aero kit? And you had talked earlier that you can make one change after the season starts. How will all this shake out, do you think?
Yeah, well, you'll get the vehicle originally with a Dallara aero kit, and remember, a Dallara aero kit means that they have to provide components that allow you to function on all types of circuits. So it doesn't mean to say you're just getting one set of bodywork or one set of end fences. You're having all the components. After that, you can purchase an additional kit. If you're a Honda team and Honda are building aero kits, then it's a Honda aero kit. A Honda team cannot purchase a Chevrolet aero kit or a Lotus aero kit. I think it's too confusing within manufacturers. What's more, if I'm Honda and I spent all my resource on building an aero kit, I don't want to give it to the competition.
When you look at, I mean, this is an idea that came up through the wind tunnel. When do you think the prototype, when will Dallara have the prototype ready to build that you'll be able to roll that out?
I think the prototype will be over here ready for testing probably the first week of August, and then from there, you know, I'm sure there'll be changes along the way, and whether it's just from being able to work on the vehicle a little easier, or whether it's through performance, or we'll quickly evaluate whether we've met our performance targets, then we can see what's necessary to change.
We talked to Roger Penske again today. He says, well, you don't get your first car till December, you don't get your second one in January. Hell, I can remember when guys never got cars till January or February, and they still made it. I mean, is that kind of a weak argument as far as these guys are going to have this car ready to race? If there can be any kind of leeway and there can be some people doing different things, it could happen for 2012 just because it's not that big a stretch, is it, to get those bodyworks done?
No, you know, nobody got their cars in the past until December, January, as you said, and I think that's just a matter of the series in general and the competitors needing to evolve from where we are now. Everything's spec, you've had the same thing for so long. I think it's, for a lot of people, you got to step out of your comfort zone and move forward, and that's what diversity and that's what competition creates. So look, is it going to be tough? Absolutely, but I think if we do a good job proving the car initially, the prototype, then and work any of the bugs out early on, then I think we'll go a long way towards making their jobs a lot easier.
The other thing that I think Dallara kind of got a bad rap, and I probably piled on, they didn't intend to build a car in 2003 that was going to be around for 10 years. They built some really zoomy cars in Europe. And I got to say that I think fans will look at this and probably be pretty impressed with how racy this thing looks.
Look, it's different. You know, people wanted different. We didn't want the same old thing. Let's be honest, when you got an open wheel car with 4 wheels, you know, in general, from a plan view, things look the same. It's the way it is. But allowing the diversity through aero kits and providing what I think is a pretty big platform and a pretty large area for you to play within, hopefully will create diversity. I understand at the end of the day that a lot of the direction is driven by performance, you know, and less drag and speed and whatever. But, you know, I think if you allow people enough opportunity, they'll create concepts that are a lot different.
Well, it's still raining here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We had a rain earlier today that moved out quickly. This one may stick around a while. Danica Patrick not in the field. Yesterday, pole day here at the 500 was dedicated to the memory of Tom Carnegie. He was the public address voice of this speedway from 1946 until 2006. He was involved in 61 Indianapolis 500s. 411 of the 708 drivers made their debut with Tom Carnegie on the public address. He passed away in February, but we'll always remember Tom Carnegie.
Happenstance. Seemed like every job I had my entire life. Well, that's how I got the job, just by running into somebody or being at the right place at the right time. There was Antique Auto Tour, and Tony Holman, through Wilbur Shaw, the president and 3-time winner, asked me to do the voice work on it. And so I did. And Tony heard me on the PA system, and he asked me to do it on race day, and I said, sure. And I started in the old pagoda, way up on the top. And my only help was the former announcer who presented me and left to be with his family having a picnic. And I didn't blame him, but from then on I realized I'm on my own. I got a free rein, and so then I started to work, you know, tweaking it a little bit. I play to the audience, actually. How do you get them excited? Well, you become excited, and you perhaps exaggerate a little bit, and up and down on your voice, and saying you won't believe it. I remember saying that even one time, or something as simple as hold on to your hats, you know, or maybe I used that once, but that wasn't too good. So that's how I got started, and just kept it as colorful as I could. And he's on it, and it's a new track record. And race fans, you have seen a 4-lap record, a new track record of 236.986 miles an hour. How do you like that? R.A. Lyondike. One of my favorite days was when Tom Sneva told me the night before on radio that he would do 200 miles an hour the next day. And I said, what? You're kidding me. And he said, no, you watch and I will. And sure enough, I was ready for it. And you know the beauty of that run? On the very first lap, he got over 200 miles an hour. So what do? You're excited. And honestly, I was tremendously excited. And he gave me a chance to say, and it's a new track record. And then lap number 2, still faster. And you won't believe it, you know. I know that there is no finer group of ladies and men involved in racing and than in any other sport. To me, it's the greatest sport because of the people involved. And the caliber of the audience is tremendous. They don't cheer for just the fun of cheering. They cheer at achievement. and there's something that's important, that's real, that's genuine, that's new, that's authentic. Those are the things they appreciate. So when you put the two together, the audience and the men and women in the pit area, the men and women behind the steering wheel, it's a tremendous sport. And I, being there all those years, am the most fortunate of all.
We had a somewhat public remembrance of Tom Carnegie over at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Hall of Fame Museum, but the big moment for me and a lot of other people came just after that. There were about 20 of us that moved to the starting line. It was a cold, cold February evening. The wind was blowing down the straight. There was even snow on the racetrack. But we each got a beer and hoisted it in honor of Tom. Danica Patrick is not in the field for the 500. She was next in line, but then the rain started to fall, and she climbed out of the car, knowing that it was going to take a while to get this track dry, and it is not drying as fast as it did earlier. The trucks are out there still trying to get the moisture up, but that is the scene now currently. It is appears to be the sun is out, but it may take a little while to dry this racetrack, a little bit longer than perhaps it did earlier today when we got it done in just about 2 hours time. Anyway, the hope continues that there will be more qualifying today, and Danica Patrick will get a chance to get into this year's 500 field. Yellow light flashing on here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We have been down for quite a few minutes now because of another shower that passed through. This one dumped a lot of rain on the track, and it was longer in length than the first shower that we had. But there certainly is an effort underway to get this track dried so we can resume qualifying. The field is filled, however. Oriol Serbia, we talked with him earlier in the afternoon. He was kind enough to join us here in the broadcast booth, and Serbia turned in an absolutely outstanding performance during qualifying yesterday. He made it to the top 9, and then in the pole shootout, he ended up with the third best qualifying average of 227.168 miles an hour. Let's get to know Oriol a little bit better. We followed him recently in the hills above his Los Angeles home. Oriol Serbia.
I leave from home on my mountain bike, and 10 minutes in, I'm canyons and canyons and mountains. So welcome to Inspiration Point. You can see why. If you don't get inspired here, you probably won't anywhere. This is what I do almost every day, and I do 2-3 hours. I think it's the best training for us. I usually have my Plantronics on, connected to my phone, my Bluetooth, for phone calls, but mainly I've been addicted lately to listen to audiobooks. I've been reading lots of books, or a lot more books than I ever have, and I find it's a lot of fun because it keeps you entertained, and actually makes me want to be an extra hour or half an hour on the bike just to hear what happens in the next chapter. So I've been listening to all sorts of books lately. Shantaram, the Agassi book Open, The Fountainhead, Atlas Shrugged. I cannot wait for the next day to jump in the bike to see what happens. So here we are, Santa Monica Pier, not too far from where we were. Those mountains there is just where we were with the mountain bike, so pretty convenient. One of the first things I did when I came to California is buy a longboard like this one, and I do come often and spend some time in the beach path and enjoy working out and doing people watching at the same time. Spending time on wheels is always good. So the Santa Monica Pier is one of the most iconic places in Santa Monica, everybody knows, but underneath it, which is where we are, is one of my favorite places. It's very quiet, it's peaceful, in touch with the ocean. I'm sure you've seen in many episodes on CSI and Baywatch, there's always some sexy scene or some dead body coming out of the water, so let's wait and see what comes out. Josh, are you ready? Do you want to win? You have to know I'm a professional race car driver. Wow, tight competition. You're killing me. You have to let me win. It was slightly easier than the Indy 500 and 32 other cars. We only had Josh here, but it's a good start. So I told you, we're in a winning strike this season.
Oriole has one win to chalk up this year. He beat young Josh in that game. He'll start outside of row number 1. Alongside Scott Dixon, Alex Tagliani has the pole position for this year's running of the 500. Here's the rest of the lineup. Bell, Power, and Weldon in the second row. Back in row number 3 for the 500, Buddy Rice, Ed Carpenter, and Dario Franchitti. Takuma Sato will occupy the inside of row number 4 with Vitor Meira and rookie J.R. Hildebrand. The fifth row consists of James Hinchcliffe, Bertrand Baguette, and Davey Hamilton. The sixth row, Elio Castroneves, John Andretti, and E.J. Viso. The seventh row, Bruno Junqueira, Justin Wilson, and Jay Howard. The eighth row, Thomas Schechter, Tony Kanaan, and Simone De Silvestro. Row number 9, Paul Tracy, Ryan Briscoe, and Charlie Kimball. The 10th row, Graham Rahal, Pippa Mann, and Anna Beatrice. And in row number 11, as it stands right now, this is a provisional lineup. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Marco Andretti, and Alex Lloyd. Not among those that you saw, Danica Patrick. She has not yet qualified for this year's 500-mile race, was next to go out. But then the rains came, and understandably, she doesn't want to talk to us right now. We just hope that the track gets dry in the next 2 hours before the track will close for qualifications, and she can get a shot at getting into this year's field. So we will take another break as the track is apparently continuing to dry with the sunshine out once again here at Indianapolis.
American ingenuity and daring have been the hallmark of this location, a true wonder of the world. Minus 86.2349 degrees longitude and 39.7047 latitude, USA. One simple oval carved by automotive innovators in an Indiana field 100 years ago. A proving ground for the outer limits of man and machine. A racing shrine like no other on the planet. 732 have tried to conquer her. Only 67 have known victory. And in doing so, they attain immortality in the sporting world. A closely held racing fraternity whose initiation can oftentimes be too harsh, but the lure of its challenge too captivating to resist. So in its centennial year, another 33 will try, and like all those before, be honored just to compete. It's the Indianapolis 500, simply the greatest spectacle in racing.
And that race will unfold a week from today. Meanwhile, we are still on bump day with a little less than 2 hours ago. If you are just joining us at a little bit past 4 o'clock Eastern time, we have a full field for this year's 500-mile race. But Danica Patrick is not in the starting lineup at the moment. Alex Lloyd is the slowest in the field and on the bubble at 223.472 miles an hour. The question is, will this track be dried in time for qualifications to resume? You can see the blue sky up above, and we do have sunshine, but we understand there may be a little bit more precipitation on the way. In any case, we will be here to cover it for you when qualifications resume, if they do. This was the scene as she was next in line to go out to qualify, but then it rained so hard that they knew it was going to take a while for the track to dry. She jumped out of the car, and the trucks went onto the track to help get the moisture up off the surface. That's where we are right now. And again, it is drying. Let's hope it doesn't rain anymore. We remember great moments here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with another centennial moment, this going back 50 years ago and the very first victory for A.J. Foyt.
Out in front now goes Eddie Sachs, and right behind him, A.J. Foyt. They come around the turn. It's Sachs, and about 3 car lengths behind is A.J. Foyt.
Well, I felt like, I was driving for a great mechanic, George Bignotti. He had top running cars. And to be truthful with you, that day I felt like, man, I've got to race one.
Crew chief George Bignotti is standing there, and here comes AJ, takes his goggles off, comes to position, slams on the brakes, stops, and now the wheels are being taken off. And down comes the car. They're finished, and they're ready to give him a push. And there it goes. It's back in the race once more. We're going back to Sid Collins. And Fred has some information for us about one of the leaders.
One of our USAC officials just came up to give me some information about A.J. Foyt's car number 1. They had difficulty with the fueling equipment, and they didn't get much fuel into the car.
I did not know at the present time that when I got fuel that they didn't give me enough fuel. Something happened to our fueling rig, so they sent me on out.
He either got just a dribble of fuel or no fuel at all, but he doesn't know that, or at least maybe he will figure it out, but he doesn't know it to begin with. And to Sachs's dismay now, he's confused by the fact that he and Foyt have been so evenly matched, and now Foyt's pulling away.
And they're putting up a late stop up there for him now.
Well, they keep on motioning for him to go by, so he must know the situation too. Well, let's pick up A.J. Foyt. He's the leader. Right now, A.J. overshot his pit by about 3 or 4 feet. They're backing him up for the fuel. Yeah, I think they just put about a gallon or so. There's yelling, go, 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 and A.J. Foyt is on his way.
Eddie Sachs now leads by 30 seconds. Unless something unforeseen happens, Eddie Sachs is going to be the winner.
As Carl Fisher said 50 years ago, is not over until the 500 miles.
Apparently, he thinks, hey, I've got the 501 and doesn't really back off the pace, which he easily could. And his lead is sort of maybe a half a minute or more. And Foyt's running like mad to catch up. But Sachs, there's only, 15, 14, 13 laps to go. You could back off a couple of seconds a lap and still save the win.
And now coming in for a pit stop is Eddie Sachs. A surprise, a pit stop for Eddie Sachs coming in. So it's a great break for A.J. Foyt, and if he passes him in this pit now, Eddie Sachs will come in second instead of first. As we said, this 500-mile race goes 500 miles, and going by is A.J. Foyt takes the lead from Eddie Sachs in the south third.
With him running so hard trying to keep up with me, he wore his right front tire out. And I just couldn't believe it. It's one of them days, yes, I got it won. No, I don't have it win. And then there at the end, I win it again.
Here comes the checkered flag for A.J. Foyt, winner of the Golden Anniversary 500-mile race.
I'm quite sure I had tears running down my eyes like a big old baby. I was just so happy and thrilled. All the years that I dreamed of listening to the race and then be lucky enough to win the race.
Speedway owner Tony Holman took a ride around the Indianapolis 500 with A.J. Foyt after that win in 61. Foyt went on to win in 64, 67, and 77. There have been 2 other drivers win 4 times here in Indianapolis, Al Unser and Rick Mears. We will be back to give you a look at who the fans have chosen as the greatest 33 drivers to ever have competed here at the Speedway. That when we return.
Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Bump day for the world's greatest race, and we are under a weather delay, but it's sunny. It's not raining at the moment. The question is, will the track be dried in time to have more qualifying? The field is full, and this is the man that's on the bubble right now, our 33rd fastest qualifier, Alex Lloyd. What are you thinking now?
I'm still, I'd say it's a little stressful, but more than anything, I'm just frustrated. I'm frustrated that we're in this position, to be honest, but it is what it is. It's going to dry out, and we're going to get back out there, and the odds are pretty high that we'll get bumped. So we're putting a whole other setup on it again. We're going to go roll out there and give it a go. Obviously, we're in a bit of a time crunch. We got to get the setup done. Maybe in 20-25 minutes, we'll be able to roll out down there. Then there's going to be a line. So, but we're banking certainly on the weather right now. It looks like that's it. We're gonna be dry and we're gonna be going again. So we're banking on the fact that we're gonna have to try and bump ourselves back into this field. So pretty frustrated to be here. Like I said, with the Boy Scouts car, after last year, I felt we should be pretty good, and this year, it's from lap 1, it's not been where we wanted it. So we will keep working on it. We'll keep working. It's not over yet.
How soon will your guys be ready? Because like you said, you need to get out there and get in line, because best case scenario, we're only going to have a time for a few attempts.
Yeah, I mean, in 25 minutes, we can maybe get ourselves down there. I reckon the track will be green in about 25-30 minutes. So, so yeah, I mean, we'll go down. We took a decision to change the setup radically and completely throw something else at it, because there's no point tickling around with it and trying to find 0.1, 0.2 of a mile an hour. We got to find some speed. We're way off the pace. We don't need that much to bump ourselves in, but messing about and just taking a run just for the hell of it's not going to do us anything. So we're taking a stab at it. If it works and we get out, maybe we can make this show. If it doesn't, well, at least we tried.
All right, good luck. Alex Lloyd sitting, waiting, and watching. See what develops here in the next hour and 45 minutes, Bob.
And Kevin, of course, he was talking about putting a new setup, and then they roll it up through tech. You can see that Pippa Mann is going to do something similar. You got a good shot of Ryan Hunter-Reay's car in there. And, of course, it was Danica Patrick's car that failed tech. They make many measurements, and what happens is you put a new setup on this car, because the speeds are so close that you put all of your measurements down to thousandths of an inch. If you change your wing a little bit, it needs to meet the regulations. See, this is a great example of what they'd be doing for Mike Conway. If you change that wing angle, those rear end plates have to, by the rules, be within a half a degree of level. So if you make a little bit of a change, you have to run it back through tech to be sure that it clears. So it could be something like that. Less than a half of a degree, as they're measuring now on Mike Conway's car, could have been. Now, Michael Andretti didn't want to tell us what it was, but it could be something that simple. If you miss it just slightly, they put you out of the line.
But like what we talked about earlier with Alex, I mean, those guys don't have the speed. They've got to just throw something. Like you said, they've got nothing to lose right now. They've got to just throw the dice here, change everything, and hoping that they can find a mile an hour, because they're out of shots. They got one more crack at it, maybe, if they're lucky.
Marty.
And you can see that work going on Mike Conway's car, very last second, trying to get the car out, ready to go. And we're here with his teammate John Andretti in the field, which you're probably the only one who's relieved in this garage area. What's the mood been like here with the Andretti Autosport team?
Well, it's been a real work environment, trying to figure out what needs to happen next, what we need to do to help each other. This morning we ran a little bit to try to figure out and quantify what we did yesterday and maybe help our teammates. But for whatever reason, it seems like we have the speed, and then all of a sudden go to qualify, it just isn't there. So going to make some more attempts here, and hopefully the weather clears up and get them out there and get them in show.
Because we thought that you had found the problem yesterday. Is that correct? It just didn't translate today, or what?
I don't have any idea. I mean, like I said, we went back and worked on that, and we worked on some other things. But we do so many different things with the cars. It only takes one little thing that you do. It's like, you know, in stock car terms, sort of like going to Daytona or Talladega, and you just change a body piece, and all of a sudden the thing takes off. And so we can't just say that it's any one little thing. So we've been trying to work through that process to figure out exactly what made it work.
I know this is a tough question. Danica just walked behind us. If she doesn't make the field, would you be willing to give up your seat, or where does that stand? Are you locked in your car?
No, I race the 500. I came here with Winter World to race the 500. I'm here only to race the 500. I can't imagine anybody asking me to give my seat up for anybody, and I'd probably give it up for my dad. Maybe my uncle.
I bet you would, yeah.
Or maybe my uncle or something, but you know, it'd have to be family, I think, for me to do it, jokingly. But no, this is such an important race, and you know, there's so much stress and everything that goes into it. I think I've earned the right to be in the race, and that's what I want to do.
To that end, what does it mean to you to be in the 100th running of the Indy 500?
Just the 100th anniversary and the whole thing that goes around it, and all the excitement, and being here just is very special. But being here, especially this year, means so much more. I don't know. It's hard to describe in words. Sort of like when you first drive somebody says, how does it feel like to drive a race car? That's sort of the same feeling as to drive here. You just can't put it into words, but it's something very special.
John is in the 100th 500 and confirming not giving up that seat in the race, Bob.
But that was an important question, because there are rumors right now that Michael Andretti is going to, maybe move John out and put Danica or Mike in, or he's going to buy a car and put one of the two drivers in. So we now know the answer to the question about will John be replaced.
Yeah, buy a car that's already in the field.
Yeah, right. Well, the rain has stopped, and we are seeing a drying process, but you can see that it isn't even close to being ready to race on, and we have just about an hour and 42 minutes of track time left before the track will officially close. Lots of jet dryers and lots of trucks out there. And it's certainly a pop-up scattered situation as far as the rain is concerned, but who knows what's going to happen in the next hour and 40 minutes. We just have to stay here and report on what's happening. Rafael Matos is not in the field. He was bumped out earlier today.
What a day for him. Are you ready to go back out?
I am. I was waiting in line and right behind Danica, and fortunately the rain started, and we had a decent run. Came back to the garage, trimmed the car out some more. Hopefully we'll find some speed and put the FS car back in the show.
We heard from Alex Lloyd, and he's not bumped out yet, but could be. Thinks he'll have to make a second run. He said they made radical changes just to go for it. Did you do anything like that?
No radical change. I was very neutral already. My car was very oversteer, and we just kind of changed the balance a little bit and trimmed some more, trying to find some more speed.
Is there a certain number you want, or at this point do you just want to be in it?
I just want to be in it. I don't care the speed. As long as I beat the 33rd car, I'm happy with.
Overall, have you been surprised at things that have happened these past couple days?
Yeah, very much. I've been surprised. I was expecting to be a little bit quicker here, and the team has done a fantastic preparation on the car, and unfortunately, you don't know what happens with this car sometimes. You just chasing the speed, and we're here in this position, but we will fight until the last minute for sure.
Don't know what happens with the car, and Bob, as we've said many times, you just don't know what happens at Indy.
You do not, and we have, again, about an hour and 40 minutes to play out the drama that is Bump Day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We continue to wait out the weather situation. Efforts are being made to get this track dry. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and a rain delay at the Bump Day qualifications. Danica Patrick's car back in Gasoline Alley. She is not in this year's field for the 500, but the track is drying, and hopefully she'll be able to get back out there and try to get into this race. So what is Danica Patrick's first memory of the Indianapolis 500?
First time I went to the Indy 500, I went with Lynn St. James, actually, and I hung out with her daughter, who's about my age, and we managed to get our way into pit lane, and at like 14 years old, and it was just really cool. But I prefer to be driving there, to be honest. It's much more entertaining. It's quite the process, but it's so rewarding at the end.
Danica Patrick leads the 89th running of the Indianapolis 500. 187 men have done it, never a woman until today.
First time that I got to the track as a driver, racing in the Indy 500, just the feeling of coming into the track, it's just really cool. I like when it gets dark out and that pagoda's all lit up, and it's beautiful.
There is always something on Bump Day, and right now it is the drama of whether Danica Patrick is going to be able to get into this field. She was in line a little more than an hour ago when the rains came. Jan, let's recap what happened.
It all started with Marco Andretti, of course, her teammate. He had speed to get in, not the kind of speed that he wanted, but it was a speed to get in inside row 11. But that made Danica in a position to where she's getting warmed up, ready to go. We've now documented that she didn't take her place in line because they failed tech. first time through. That gave Paul Tracy the opportunity to go ahead of Danica, and rain was on the horizon. But Paul Tracy, wow, what a lap. Started 225, held it, only slipped a little bit into the 224s on the last couple of laps because he said the car was sliding, had rain on the visor. Brian Barnhart decided he would let him run, thought about going for the yellow light, didn't do it. That bumps Mike Conway, Danica's teammate. So now two Andretti cars on the outside looking in, and Danica is told here, doesn't look like you're going to be able to go. At the same time that Paul Tracy says, finally, I get some good luck here at the Speedway after feeling he was snake bit. The word came to Danica Patrick, it'll at least be an hour and a half before we can get it dried. She steps from her car, takes the ride back into the golf cart, and since that time has having to wait it out. Knows she has a car that has the speed to get in, but it has to be dry for her to have a shot.
That's the situation with Danica Patrick. Kevin Lee.
Bob, just about 40 minutes ago, about 10 till, a quarter till 4 o'clock, it was still raining. And at that point, I think most of us thought there's very little chance of seeing anything happen. We were going to have it stop raining by 4 because the prevailing thought is it takes almost 2 hours. Here we are at just after 4:25 Eastern, and the track is almost dry. Here's a wet spot on pit lane, but when we go past that, this is the only wet spot on pit lane. The main straightaway is mostly dry, and I'm hearing now from people that I trust that we might be qualifying again in about 25 minutes. So if we don't get rain again, we could see still a full hour of qualifying. Cars just rolled out. Rafa Matos just rolled out, and there's Mike Conway's car also just out. So we are going to see activity as long as we don't get any more weather. Stay tuned. More bump day dramatics from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
90 minutes to go on bump day. Danica Patrick's car is on its way from Gasoline Alley back out onto pit lane. She will get the #1 opportunity to qualify should we get no more weather when the track dries, and that should be before too much longer. In the meantime, we have the driver who will be starting 6th in this year's Indianapolis 500, a former winner of this race, Dan Weldon. And the worst you've ever started here is 18th, so you've never been a part of this bump day drama, have you?
Well, thankfully, no. And apparently, one of you guys, and I don't know which one it was, said that I was going grey yesterday. But I would expect a lot more grey if I had been part of that, because it looks very stressful.
I think that was Bob. That was Bob.
Yeah.
That was Bob, yeah.
The sun was hitting you.
Yeah, they didn't stick up for you, really, did they?
You didn't.
You'll learn that. Which what I'm talking about is that Dan Weldon, I guess I can spill the beans here, that Dan Weldon is going to join us when Wally's going to go do some other racing here around Texas time. So you're going to get a chance to be a TV guy in Texas.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I'm obviously very excited about it, and it's certainly going to be very different for me. But you know, the series right now is obviously great to be part of, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to compete in that race in the cockpit. But I'll be taking another perspective, and I'm excited about that.
Well, working with these two will give you great hair. Racing won't, so just be prepared.
Well, you still look very good for it.
Yeah. It looks like you got a pretty nice race car to drive again this year.
Yeah, you know what? For me, honestly, it's just great to be back. The 4-race hiatus, vacation, whatever you want to call it, was, you know, it was great. I got to spend some time with my family, but it was also, you know, not necessarily frustrating, but it's just, I think that time really made me realize how much I love to be, you know, in the IndyCar and be part of the IndyCar series. But with Brian giving me a great opportunity in the William Rass car, you know, we've collaborated with Sam Schmidt's team, and I think we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I was very happy with how yesterday went, and I'm really looking forward to the race.
And another thing too, you've been in the seat. It's not like you've been out, right? You've been doing some testing.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
No, since coming to Indianapolis, it was the first time I've been back in an IndyCar since Homestead.
Really?
last year. So, hey, the old man might still have it, right?
Yeah, pretty good. Very impressive.
Actually, it's a testament to the team. I was blessed to have a lot of offers for this race, and Brian Herter has been, a good friend for a long time. He's been a teammate, and when we spoke, I said, "Listen, Brian, you know how much I love the race. This potentially could be my only race of the season. I'm going to need to be in something competitive. I love the series. I love Indy cars, and I want to be back in full time, and I'm going to need this to help." And he's one of very few that is very, very honest and upfront, and he goes, I promise you, I will give you a car that can contend. And he's a man of his word. There's really not that many out there, but he stuck by everything he said, and he's delivered.
But he's been in your spot, and that helps because he's been a race car driver. And when you drive for a race car driver, he's been through all the things that drivers go through, which is very helpful.
Exactly, and he's done. I know he's my boss now, so everybody's going to think I'm just saying this because he's my boss. But it has changed the the difference in our relationship now. But He's truly got a great group of people together. He's brought William Rast on board, Curb Records, Big Machine Records, and Foresight Solutions. So we're excited.
Okay, here's your first opportunity to be a driver analyst. What is going through Danica Patrick's head right now?
Well, it's incredibly tough. I mean, this is Indianapolis, and you can never expect any day to be easy at Indianapolis. I think Townsend Bell told me that yesterday, and he's right. And I think she knows she's got a great team behind her in Andretti Autosport. Michael is obviously a guy that's experienced a lot, and I think he would have probably had a word in her ear. But I would assume she has the confidence to know that she should make it. As long as she does everything right, and that's what she's going to have to focus on is making sure she does everything right around this track. It's the little things that can become very important, making sure you keep your race line down to the shortest possible distance, and that's things you're going to have to remember when it's as close as it is when it's this tight, unfortunately.
I have to disagree. I think she's thinking of shopping.
Really?
Yeah, right. Well, she'll catch on.
William Rast. She wears the William Rast I wear, so...
Oh, boy. Earlier today, we had some of the big-time guys, Scott Dixon, Dario Franchitti, were talking with Robin Miller about the all-time top 33, and they just said, without reservation, they thought that Dan Weldon needed to be on that list. They were saying that you have a special talent here at this racetrack, the way you kind of drive off the right rear. Explain that.
Well, no, Dario's been extremely supportive of me, and I value the history and tradition a lot at Indianapolis, and I have to say I was a little bit disappointed to be left off the list. I have to say I've been blessed with very good race cars around here, but I feel that perhaps my mentality and the training that I've been given from people like Michael Andretti, Brian Herter, Tony, and Dario has given me a good feel for what I need to to do well around here. So it's it's one of those things. It's people's views, and I respect that, but I'm extremely confident around here.
For one, and I don't want you to check them up through the north end. So when you check her, go down, stay low, and we'll go from there. If the north end has dried on its own, and I'll find out before, I'm going to tell you to go right on the decel lane. The north end is way drier than the south, so I'll cover that for you. Go in. You're probably 10 minutes out yet, so take your time, and you got a good racetrack out here. Good.
Team trucks and 5-jet drives.
Well, you're welcome. Just go out and do what you know to do.
And talking about after she took the checker, getting out of the way of the next car. Because I think the cool-off lane or whatever is probably still pretty wet.
Yeah, resume your story there about Dario.
Yeah, it's it's just with the training that I've had, I seem to enjoy this place. I mean, I certainly value it, and I very much focus on the race, and I think that's helped me here. But yeah, I was a touch disappointed. I mean, those things matter when you get a little bit older, so it was a shame.
Okay, now you can say, Marty, who do you have down there? Go ahead.
Marty, who do you...
Kevin.
Yeah, sorry. That wasn't me.
Don't listen to Bob.
That wasn't me.
help him out, Bob. He's new. All right, Brian Barnhart, the president of competition. We saw you just talking to Danica. Not all the pit lane is totally dry. Some different provisions going on. What's happening?
Yeah, we're just obviously trying to focus on qualifying here, so we're not drying the decel lanes, the pit in, pit out lanes, pit road itself. We're just trying to get them a racetrack so they can get out and qualify again. Just telling her to be careful after the run's over when you're coming down pit road.
How far away are we from sending Danica out?
They just said right now 4:50, so about 12, 13 minutes.
Okay, qualifying again coming up in just a few minutes, guys.
Wow, they've just done a great job again of getting this track dried, because it is very important for a lot of people for Danica Patrick to have a shot of getting in the Indianapolis 500. We're going to take a break and have qualifying before very long here at Indianapolis. Brian Barnhart, the president of competition, continuing his conversation with Danica Patrick.
3 times we tried it, anything more, and it's full enough. And it just, you get into the corner, it loads up, and it's nothing. Like something happens, you know? So we couldn't keep increasing our speed as the week went on because we couldn't trim. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like I say, you'll appreciate your successes. Go out there and give them a number so you know what you got, and then worry about on race day, and anything can happen on that day too. So.
Yep. All right.
You'll be good.
You know, Dan, maybe you can try to explain a little bit how different the cars are when you guys go out and qualify compared to race day.
Well, obviously in qualifying, and particularly around here, they're very much on edge. We can go to some tracks like Texas, Chicago, and we have to run a mandated rear wing angle. So around there, going around those tracks on your own, it's reasonably comfortable. When you start to get into qualifying trim, even around there, you know, that the car's a little bit on edge. But around here, to be quick, that car has to feel like it's floating. And you overheard Brian there, you can trim too much where you're actually sliding and not driving the car forward, which will lose you time. But it's, you know, it's incredibly on edge in the race. You load it up with downforce and give it a little bit more overall grip, but obviously at that point you've got 32 other cars out there, so it's, you know, it can be a handful, and you know, Indianapolis can certainly get in your head, and that's where you have to use your experience and your belief in yourself to maintain a, you know, a good viewpoint.
Rafael Matos is lined up behind Danica Patrick. He has already been bumped out of the lineup, and behind Rafa is Mike Conway, who also has been eliminated from the field at this point. The driver who won the IZOD IndyCar Series race at Long Beach just a few weeks ago finds himself on the outside looking in. Marco Andretti is behind him. So we will have a very busy hour or so to get this field settled, and the fastest 33 in the lineup. We had a lot of emotion yesterday with Alex Tagliani winning the pole for Sam Schmidt. The Penske drivers not particularly impressive, and now we have the Andretti Autosport team, which is struggling here on bump day. Were you surprised yesterday at Team Penske?
Yeah, I was, to tell you the truth. I mean, you've always got to expect Penske to be a factor, in particularly Elio, but they just really didn't seem to have it in qualifying. That's not to say that they're not going to be a factor in the race. I expect them to be very, very competitive. But I've got to give a shout out to Alex Tagliani and Sam Schmidt Motorsports. We obviously have the collaboration with them at Brian Herter Autosport, but they've been particularly impressive to me. Everybody, you know, within that team has worked very, very hard. It's the attention to detail that makes huge differences around here, and they did that, and congratulations to them.
You know, you look at this situation here, you can't imagine what's going through Michael's head. I mean, you got a possibility here. If Conway gets in and Danica gets in, it could knock Marco out.
Yeah, and that's it's unbelievable to think that the Andretti Autosport cars aren't already a lock-in. You know, Michael absolutely loves this racetrack. You know, he's driven so well here, and as an owner, he's obviously been successful. But they've just missed something this year, and you know, I'm sure he's knowing Michael. Obviously, he's you know, he's going to be incredibly on edge, and it's probably a very nerve-wracking moment, and I would expect.
Yeah, who do you root for? You know what I mean? It's really a tough situation to be in.
I think I could answer that one.
Yes.
Now having two sons, I'm pretty sure I can answer that one.
Yes. Blood is thicker than water. And I suppose the ideal situation for Michael Andretti would be if each of their cars would improve in speed, they'd be bumping other people and not themselves. But at the moment, with two of your cars down on the last row, that obviously is going to be very tense moments for Michael Andretti. But for this crew, for the GoDaddy crew right now, if this car does roll out and she starts the attempt, that is the reprieve for them. If Dan, if you didn't catch it, they actually failed tech and she missed her spot in line earlier and would have run before the rain had that not happened. So this right now could be redemption for the crew if they're like, man, we dodged a bullet there.
I'm sure they were very nervous, and I have to say, I think it goes to show how much effort goes into this race. Being part of a one-off program, their sole focus is this race, and you know, with the other guys having to do the 4 races leading into this, it may have put them on the back foot a little.
Well, we're going to have, if it doesn't rain anymore, an hour and 15 minutes of all-out speed trying to get into the field for the 500. Remember, the field is full at this point. On the bubble is Alex Lloyd with a 4-lap average. There he is, 223.472. He's back in his garage watching the proceedings on the racetrack.
Said he fully expected to be bumped. He didn't seem like it would be any surprise if he got bumped if it dried. So they're in the process of trying to throw a new setup on his car. He expects that Danica will have the kind of speed to knock him out.
One warm-up lap completed. Next time she'll take the green flag. Danica Patrick has been in 6 previous Indianapolis 500-mile races and led the race for 19 laps in her rookie year of 2005, driving for Ray Hall Letterman Racing. She's been with Andretti Green and Andretti Autosport for the past 4 years.
We have the speeds. We know about the kind of speeds that her teammates turned into turn 1. They were turning in through the trap about 228 or 229 on their first lap. So once she does get the green here, we'll keep an eye on that trap.
All right, here we go. Danica Patrick as Bev, her mom, looks on. Danica Patrick on the track, trying to get into the 500-mile race in the final hour and 15 minutes.
227, sorry, Wally, as she turned in, but her speed in the corners is up a lot.
Yeah, you look at the tracker right now, it's 25th.
Yes, they haven't trimmed it out as much to get the super straight line speed, but her corner speed is great. Actually, at the back straights, 232 miles an hour. Now she has it cranked up.
And she looks pretty comfortable to me. She's not using all of the track, so I think this is going to be a reasonable run for her.
First lap for Danica Patrick, 225.411. Very fast, well enough to get into the starting lineup.
Yeah, I think she's going to be relieved with that first lap. Seeing that one on your dash, that always makes you feel better.
Alex Lloyd looks in anguish as Danica is on her run.
This is slipping just a little, but it'll be, if she keeps it together here in turn 4, it'll still, well, she's going to be right even 225, might slip in the 224s.
Second lap for Danica's 225.017.
You can kind of feel the anxiety here.
Oh, yeah.
The fans must be going wild.
Well, I think there are a lot of people that couldn't imagine an Indianapolis 500 without Danica Patrick in it.
Good straightaway speeds right there. 231 we saw going into 3.
And sorry to jump over there, Wally, but it's you know, these last couple of laps, the car definitely starts to move around a little bit more, and it's about staying on top of the controls within the cockpit to keep being able to maintain that consistency, which when it's so tight, the field, it becomes very, very important. You have the weight jackers and the roll bars, and it may look easy, but you're very, very busy within the cockpit itself.
Now, will you, Dan, I mean, you know, you've been around this place enough. Would you change it like for each end of the racetrack?
Yeah, particularly yesterday when it was gusty. Yeah, I was having to move weight to the left to get through turn 4, and then obviously I was moving it back to the right to get through turns 1 and 2. But like I say, from experience around here, you really got to stay on top of the race car.
Here is the checkered flag, and Danica Patrick's fourth lap is 2:24.453. She has qualified for the 500 in good shape. 224.861 miles an hour is the average, and she right now slots into the middle of row number 9, and Alex Lloyd has been bumped out of the race. Down to Marty.
Tears from her mom, Bev. And what was that last hour like for you and Danica?
It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. When I found out that she had to get out today, I was just praying for some sun and praying that the boys would get the track dry again, and they did it again really fast, and thank God we got a run at it.
Were you worried that she would not make the 500?
Mother Nature can be cruel, and I was just hoping she wouldn't be today.
All right, well, go celebrate with your daughter, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Bev, her mom, very happy, tears in her eyes. Danica's in the field.
But now Marco Andretti is on the bubble with a 4-lap average of 223.688. And seeking a spot in the field is somebody who's already been bumped out, and that would be Rafael Matos.
When we talked to Rafael, he had said that he thought he wrung everything out of the car that he could, wasn't sure why they were lacking speed. But the first thing I noticed, Wally, we'll check when we get to turn 3, not bottoming nearly as much as he did in his first run. His first run, it was sparking all the way through turn 3, so they've raised it up in the back.
Yeah, like you said, they were pretty much out of ideas. They figured they had it trimmed out about as much as they can go.
That rear wing angle certainly looks pretty laid back.
It sure does, doesn't it? They may not have told them about that part.
Earlier today, he qualified at 223.272, which was not good enough at that time.
Doesn't look good right now either.
No, it doesn't.
And it's amazing to think of the people that aren't making the field now. That goes to show you that the competition and, you know, the great level that the IndyCar Series is at. It seems to be back to what it's, you know, been like before.
Danica's getting her car back in line, but she doesn't need to because she is now like 8th on the bump list, so she is safe and secure. 222.926. First lap for Rafael Matos, not fast enough by about 0.6 of a mile an hour.
That's a big relief right there. You don't even have to look at them. You can tell just the way they carry themselves. It's like, oh, man, that monkey's off my back.
It would not have been the same doing Indy 500 without Danica to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's right.
It's very important that she's made the race.
Yep. All right, lap number 2 is about to be completed for Rafa. You see the number there in red in the box, meaning he's not fast enough. 222.695. He drops down on lap number 2. We'll keep an eye on Rafa. Meanwhile, let's go down to the pit area.
All right, Danica, you are in, and you've got a bit of a cushion. You're faster than 8 other drivers. What has this day been like?
I said I skipped my 30s and went straight to my 40s in age after this weekend. You know, it's just one of those weekends that was surprising. I don't think any of us expected to do what happened yesterday. I think we expected more what happened today, although I had quite a bit of fall off, which I wasn't very happy about. I would have liked to have stayed up around 225 the whole time, but, you know, at this point in time, we're choking in the garage. We don't care what the speed is, just as long as it's fast enough to get in. And, you know, this is the Indianapolis 500. You do everything you can. You take what you can get, and you can win from anywhere, right?
You almost were in a situation where you had no chance today. The car had a technical issue, and you lost your spot in line, and then it rained, and for a while it looked like we wouldn't get going again. What was that hour and a half like?
That's what it seemed like. You know, I was saying that the apocalypse for me happened today, and maybe just over a couple thousand years, Nostradamus was off by a day. You know, I'm just really pleased that we're in. it was just one of those days, you know, that the car didn't go through tech and it had to go back around again. We lost our spot, and then the rain came and we were up next, and it just almost seemed like something wasn't supposed to happen. But we built some drama for bump day.
We appreciate that. Through this experience, have you gained even more respect? Do you appreciate this place even more now?
I was just talking to Brian and Barnhart, and you know, he said it makes you think really about how good those good days are, and that's so true. I feel like I hang on to my 05 memories so much. I feel like I need to let go and get a new one, but it was just so great, and it makes me even love those memories even more. And you know, the important thing is now that we focus on making new memories in 2011 and try and get the GoDaddy car as far up the field as possible and try and win the 100th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
Danica Patrick's not official.
In the field solidly right now, and Mike Conway is trying to bump back in, and if he does, he will bump his teammate Marco Andretti. 223.688 is the speed they're shooting for. And the green flag comes out for Mike Conway. And ladies and gentlemen, Dan Weldon does not have gray hair, and we thank him so much for being with us here in the booth. Good luck on race day.
Good luck on race day, but good luck in Texas.
Yeah, thank you very much. I look forward to spending more time with you guys.
All right.
Be nice to me.
I will. Dan Weldon, the 2005 winner of the Indianapolis 500. All right, Mike Conway. Yeah, Danica was talking about her fond memory in 2005, her rookie year when she led 19 laps, but Dan Weldon remembers 2005 also as the year that he won this great event. Here we go with Mike Conway.
It's not good, Bob.
No?
Nope.
222.644, not nearly good enough by about 1 mile an hour, a little more than a mile an hour.
Wow.
One of those drivers that you just sort of assumed would have no problem. But it has been a struggle for Mike Conway all month long. High exit coming off the corner there, and 3.
So Marco Andretti is on the bubble. He is in line, but he cannot pull out to qualify. You see giving him a sign saying, no way, take me out of line, because the only way he goes out is if he withdraws his time.
Right. 222.021 on the second lap for Conway, so this will not be a successful attempt. We still got an hour to go, and remember, each car has 3 chances today. Down to Marty.
Bob, decision just made. Pull Marco Andretti out of line. Next in line will be Ryan Hunter-Reay. They're just going to put Marco at the end of the line in case someone does eventually bump him.
He would be first on the bump list, Marco, and then second would be Ryan Hunter-Reay. All right, white flag for Conway. 1 to go. 221.199. He is slipping quickly, and again, this will not be a successful attempt for Mike.
And it should be the same scenario for Ryan Hunter-Reay as he pulls to the front of the line. Most likely they'll do the exact same thing that Marco did. It's just when you present, you have an opportunity, but you cannot roll out unless you withdraw your time. It'd be very unlikely that Ryan Hunter-Reay would do that.
And Conway shut the motor off, or at least he backed off, and will not complete this run successfully. Marty?
And Bob, it continues. Ryan Hunter-Reay now pulling out of line. Sebastian Saavedra will be the next car to go actually out onto the track. He currently not in the field and obviously needs to get 4 laps in.
Yeah, that's probably, that's really a smart move. Let them work for it.
Absolutely.
Let them knock you out. Don't take yourself out of the 500.
Well, they obviously have case history, and they saw what happened to Paul Tracy and Jay Howard last year, and everyone remembers that. And I think the rule of the road is never pull your time when you're in, because it can backfire badly.
It sure can. So Ryan Hunter-Reay taken out of line. Marco Andretti was also taken out of line, and now ready to go again is Sebastian Saavedra. Same kind of drama last year for Sebastian Saavedra as he was not in the field, and then crashed and went to Methodist and found out that because there had been withdrawals, he was back in the field, and that's the situation when the gun sounded at 6 o'clock. He was back in the field for his first 500, and he started in 32nd position last year, driving for Brian Herta Autosport, and finished in 23rd. Sebastian Saavedra is from Bogota, Colombia, residing here in Indianapolis. Earlier today, 222.284 was what he was able to do, and that would not be fast enough. Again, it's a 223.6 that he needs to put together.
His teammate, Pippa Mann, has a 223.9, so, you know, in their stable, they have that kind of speed. We've learned, as we just saw for Mike Conway, just because Danica Patrick was fast doesn't mean it's going to work for Conway. So it doesn't always transfer, but it does give you a little more confidence. If at least your teammate's faster than you are, you can borrow something from the setup.
And here comes Sebastian Saavedra off corner number 4, and the green flag is out. And here we go to see if Sebastian can bump his way back into the starting lineup.
Based on our tracker,
well, he's
doesn't
going.
Look good.
He's not looking good, but he is going a little quicker than he did last time.
That's the 33rd spot right there.
He's starting to gain some speed.
Alex Lloyd, meanwhile, waiting to go out again. Let's see what lap 1 is for Sebastian Saavedra.
223.7.
Ooh, that would be good enough.
That would be good enough.
Yeah, 223.765. If he can put 4 of these together, he'll bump Marco.
Now that green is based on the bubble speed,
right.
So that is not from the fastest. So anytime you're green, but it turned red right as he got high, right as he had to pull the car off the wall. Now it goes green again.
Can you imagine what's going through this young man's mind?
It's running just very similar to the way Paul Tracy was qualifying earlier. He's just letting that car float out, use all the racetrack, try not to scrub any speed off if you can.
Second lap, 223.564. Ooh, so close for an average. But the tracker is red up on the right.
Well, he's getting higher and higher.
Man, I thought he'd lost it.
Yeah, that's going to cost him probably quite a bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
He lost a couple of tenths of a second just in that corner.
Yeah. Way off the white line as he moves through the north end of the racetrack. In turn 3. Again, a high exit off of
this will be like a 220 though.
Yeah.
He really had to dump out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 219.917. Boy, if he could only put 4 laps together, he could make this race. But it won't
I think
be.
He knows it now.
Yeah.
He has one more attempt. That was attempt 2.
You see, he was running that high line like we talked about, and it just, he kind of entered one a little bit higher than he had been. I don't think he ever got the car down low enough. He was way, way up there early on the exit of 2. No way, he did a nice job holding on to that race car.
And that's what we call a tank slapper.
Yeah, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a nice save right there.
Boy, it was. Look at that.
And that's 220 miles an hour. Nicely done. Whew.
Marco remains on the bubble. Well, anyway, we go back to the racetrack and qualifying to see if Alex Lloyd can bump his way back into the starting field.
And I would say, if anything, just by listening to Alex and what they were doing, this is a Hail Mary.
Yep.
They've made a lot of changes on this car, radical changes by the sounds of it, just to try to find that extra 1.5 miles, 2 miles per hour that he needs to get in this race.
Second attempt for Alex this afternoon. Earlier today, 223.46. 1:37.2, and that would be so close of making it. But he has been bumped out. Let's see if he can put 4 good laps together and make his 4th Indianapolis 500. Green flag is out. 10 miles of qualifying for Alex Lloyd.
You have to give the tracker a few corners to catch up. But anytime you start red, that's not a good sign.
He's in the red, but boy, not by very much.
Yeah, but the number's going up though, Bob. That's not what you want.
Yeah,
this
now
only be
it's
222.
Really?
Yeah.
222.8 to be exact. Neither one of the Dale Coyne cars are in the race. James Jakes is not in, and at the moment Alex Lloyd is not.
He's just going slower and slower right now.
I think he's backed off now,
Yeah.
which is wise. He'll have one more attempt.
He's going to complete this lap, but it will be an unsuccessful qualifying run for Alex Lloyd. There's the car owner, Dale Coyne. Former driver. Mike Conway will be next to try to get back in the event. Down to Kevin.
Well, the argument amongst teams within themselves now is whether we go back out. For example, Mike Conway, who you see there, just has one more attempt. But Tom Anderson, who is running that team, their strategist, is going back and forth of whether we want to go back out right now and use that final attempt or wait a little bit. There's Tom, and see if we can make some changes to the car. So that's the big dilemma right now. And now they are pulling Conway out a little bit. So they're hoping for some practice time.
And cooler weather. This racetrack cools down a little bit. The speeds will come up.
Yes, I don't think you want to take your final attempt until you absolutely have to. You have to be careful you don't get caught out, but there's not that many cars in line. If there ends up being no cars presented, they will open it for practice.
Yep, and that appears to be the situation because nobody is at the front of the qualifying line at the far south end of the racetrack. So we've still got about 53 minutes of qualifying to go on bump day.
Gets back in, and we move to the top of the 8th.
Some guys spend their lives reaching for the brass ring. Some are smart enough to realize they already have it. Turtle Wax Ice. Do yourself proud.
Don't worry, Lucky. These Wheat Thins Crunch Sticks will save us. Look!
Wheat Thins Crunch Sticks. Try our new flavors.
In IndyCar racing, it's all about speed, and the action happens in the blink of an eye. So you need something that helps you keep up, like IndyCar Mobile from Verizon. It lets you keep pace with in-race audio, up to the second leaderboards, highlights, and even driver tweets. Download it now! Before the season passes you by!
The lightning attack of Stamkos, St. Louis, and Le Cavalier shocked the Caps. While Tim Thomas and the Bruins silenced the skeptics by stonewalling the Flyers. It's the last two survivors in the East with a trip to the Stanley Cup Final on the line. The Eastern Conference Final. Lightning Bruins. Game 5 tomorrow.
Well, Mario Mario Andretti is in the golf cart, but Honda's fastest seat in Motorsport Sweepstakes has been very popular. There are 4 more chances to win. Log on to shophonda.com to enter. You could win an opportunity to ride along with Mario Andretti in the IZOD 2-seater for the start of an upcoming race in the IZOD IndyCar Series. Yellow light is flashing because it appears as if we will go to practice here. IZOD has decorated Macy's Herald Square for the month of May. Fashion-forward 2012 Honda Civic Coupe, wearing the official livery of an IndyCar pace car, is on display in Macy's window. Partnership promotes the 9th generation of the Honda Classic, along with the Indianapolis 500 inspired fashions from IZOD. Marco Andretti is on the bubble. He is the slowest qualifier in the field at 223.688. He is not apparently going to withdraw his speed and hope to get back in. He's going to wait till somebody bumps him out and then have a shot at it. But it is an intense situation for Marco. Danica Patrick, on the other hand, was not in the event until the rain ended. We got the track dried, and finally she did qualify. Very impressively, in fact, she is the second fastest qualifier of the day at 224.861. The fastest qualifier of the day is Paul Tracy at 224.9. Ryan Briscoe is third quickest at 224.639. Other qualifiers that we've had today: Charlie Kimball, Graham Rahal, Pippa Mann, Anna Beatrice, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and Marco Andretti the slowest. Kevin?
Well, Mike Conway's team, the 27 with Andretti Autosport, not in right now. They're making a rear wing adjustment that you can see. They're going to take out a ½ degree and trim it out even more.
It moved. Yeah.
Well, I think, normally this place gets a little bit faster, the closer to when the gun goes off, and that's all you're looking for. You're just looking for a little bit faster for some of these guys that are on the outside looking in. They don't need much. And if the track can give you a couple of tenths, it's enough to get in.
You have some practice. You get an opportunity to get a balance on the car. There had obviously been very heavy rain. You could put a little more rubber down. But the real key to speed, as you said, Wally, is air temperature. And Kevin was just saying that it's actually warming up right now, that the sun is out brightly. So you want to wait as close to 6 o'clock as you can when you get a little reduction in the air temperature. And because it's so aerodynamically driven, that is the key to speed around here.
Yeah, with all this rain and now the sun out, I'm sure it's a little bit more humid out there than it has been. Yeah, but that's another thing you got to look at right there, is those flags. You don't want to go out when it's windy.
Hey, Wally?
Yes, sir.
Another thing that you got to remember is when Indianapolis changed to Eastern Standard Time, we lost all those great shadows that came across the track from like 5:15 to 6 when happy hour was cool in practice, and now even in the last day of qualifying, when the track can speed up a couple miles an hour.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that, Robin. It's a great point.
So we await now the track to open for perhaps a short practice period here for the drivers to make adjustments, and then hopefully more qualifying before the hour is over.
Although you do see that shadow right there building in turn 1, and I'll tell you what, every little bit helps.
Yep. Marty.
Well, Bob, here's the plan for Marco Andretti. They will not practice as of right now. If they do go back to practice here in just a moment, what's going to happen is they're going to watch their teammate Mike Conway practice, see what information they can get from them. Marco said, I would just rather not unless you guys really want me to. There's a lot of debate there before they were going to go out in qualifying about the gear they have in the car and whether it was the right gear and what they should be doing in qualifying. But right now they're going to sit, wait it out on the bubble, hoping that everything stays as is.
There once again is Michael, who's been on that pit box for a long time, both yesterday afternoon and this afternoon, trying to get all of his cars into the field. Those not in the field include Sebastian Saavedra, and remember, he had a very emotional time here last year getting into the Indianapolis 500, but he did make his first race.
Qualifying for the Indy 500 is something.
19-year-old rookie Sebastian Saavedra.
Just being there, it's already something, but qualifying to it, finally say, hey, I qualified, I'm inside the historic side of this beautiful race. It's unbelievable. It's such a fulfilling moment. When I was there last year, just battling for that last spot, always in the bubble and working it. And unfortunately, we have a big crash about an hour for the qualifying to finish. And right away, I heard that I was bumped out. It really destroys you, that knowing that you were inside, and because of a little thing that you're out.
Now it's out of our hands. Now we just got to sit and watch. But, I think we're in trouble.
Paul Tracy, welcome to the bubble.
Oh, he's high again! Oh. He might have taken himself out of the Indy 500.
Jay Howard is safe for the moment. The yellow flag comes out. 6 minutes to go. Paul Tracy pulls his time, and he's not in the field.
Wow, what a gamble. Jay Howard has withdrawn his time. He is on the bubble, but he's going back out. He's going to try to take it out of anybody else's hand.
This is it, a minute and a half to go.
So Saavedra goes back on the bubble, and Paul Tracy, because he withdrew the time, will not go back into the 33rd slot.
Qualifications are over for 2010. Jay Howard does not make the 500. Sebastian Saavedra is the 33rd starter.
I was in an MRI room, and I just see all my family outside the MRI room just screaming with joy, and I was like, why are they really screaming? Like, this is not a happy moment right now. I'm like in pain, everything's not going right. And they get into the microphone and they say, hey, we're in, you're actually in. And I was like, I didn't know what to do. Then I started pretty much jumping around. The nurses were really pissed off as I couldn't move inside the freaking MRI machine. It was just one moment that it's still very, very, I can still picture it very neatly in my head.
You're in, buddy.
Saavedra started 32nd and finished 23rd in last year's Indianapolis 500. Dan Weldon is on the racetrack. He just left the booth here with us, and now he's on the racetrack.
No wonder he was in a hurry.
Yeah. I believe I said earlier that Danica had 7 people below her. She actually has 15 when you rank all 33 speeds, which of course is what is involved in the bumping process. 7 today. Marty.
You don't know how precise you have to be, Bob. Marco Andretti's team still not going out to practice, but what they did, they were about the 5th car in line of cars that are sitting here waiting on pit road. They moved their car to the very front of the line just to make sure that if anything happens, they can get to the qualifying line first.
And Marco is not leaving the cockpit.
No. Alex Lloyd has the situation now where they've tried 2 much different setups. The second one apparently not even as good as the first, and so when you get down to your final attempt, they're going to have to dig deeply into those setup books.
White knuckle time for a driver.
Now, one thing we didn't get a chance to talk to Dan Weldon about was a little bit about how Alan McDonald, who is the engineer for Alex Tagliani, was very complimentary that Dan Weldon had done a lot of race setup work. So he would be continuing to do that right now. This is the story on Mike Conway, who's backed off to get some clear running. If you're going to test a qualifying setup, you don't want to do it around other cars.
Exactly.
You need clear running.
Man, that rear wing, it's just, thing is really laid back.
Even a distance of that between Mike and the car ahead of him will give you a little bit of a tow and increase your speed, which is, of course, not going to happen when you're out there by yourself during qualifying.
And especially the report we had was they had a concern about gears. So they want Mike Conway to test out gears. You certainly don't want to do it if you're in any kind of draft of another car.
This is the first practice period that we have had during this day, except for the 1 hour earlier today. when Patrick Carpentier crashed and took out the number 20 car. A couple of rain showers have delayed things, but the field is full now, and as Marco Andretti waits to see whether he will be in when the final gun sounds with a 223.688. One of those who could bump him out of the lineup is his teammate that we're showing you now, Mike Conway.
His teammate Ryan Hunter-Reay just made his way to pit road, so that was the car that was directly ahead of him, looking for clean air. He's got a pretty good gap now.
Yeah, and he's fairly well off the pace. You see he's gotten way off the throttle in the corners. He's just trying to get a feel for this thing right now, but his times are nowhere near where he needs to be for a qualifying attempt.
And he's going to come into the pits. Meanwhile, the 19 car, sponsored by the Boy Scouts of America, driven by Alex Lloyd, appears to be going down toward the qualifying line.
I think toward is the key.
Yeah.
The 519, if he was needing that much more speed, you wouldn't want to run now.
I agree. You want to wait till, like you said, if it's your third attempt, you want to wait until the last possible second.
I guess he's going to come and try and park. Well, he just passed Marco. And we were told that Marco had the premier parking spot.
Marty?
Well, guys, what's going on? Alex Lloyd is being pushed in, and you'll see Marco Andretti's team go after that. They're going to go right behind Alex Lloyd just to make sure that in case Alex Lloyd bumps them out of the field, that they'll be okay and they can make a run. They just wanted to be in the area and be ready.
Yeah, so you don't want to run
they didn't want two people to get in front of them in line. One person is kind of what they wanted to do.
Yeah, you don't want to run unless you get bumped out.
I'm talking about, when I say wow, is for Lloyd. If you go down that chute, that means you
have to go.
You're going to present.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure you'd want to do that at 520. Unless you can kind of take your time going down the chute. But I think once you get up there, you've got to make your intentions known.
Here he comes.
Maybe they feel like Robin mentioned, maybe the weather's not going to change that much between now and 6 o'clock.
Well, the way we will know is they go yellow if they're going to change the track and timing and scoring over to qualification. So as long as it stays green, we know that it hasn't become an official present for Alex Lloyd.
And let's also define attempt. An attempt is when you take the green flag. You can go out, and if on the second warm-up lap your team does not display the green flag, that is not an official attempt. There's Brian, and the yellow comes out. Yep.
Sure enough. Wow.
So the cars who were out there for practice will come in, and Alex Lloyd will take another shot at getting in the field.
I think I'm with you on this one, Jan. I think it's a little bit too early to be doing this.
And but he's playing. Unfortunately, he's played the hand of these other cars now. Now they pretty much have to join him in line.
Yeah, but they can still pull out of line, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, but then you get the cycle. Yeah. You get the cycle thing going. You don't want to lose your spot. And nice thing about Conway and Andretti is that being teammates, you know, Marco can say, "Go ahead, Mike. You go first."
Boys, you want to hear a devious plan?
Of course.
Right. Back in the 70s, Jerry Carl was on the bubble, pulls out of gasoline alley and turns left. I think, what the hell's he doing out here at 4 o'clock practicing? I go walking up to him and I said, boy, if you were smart, you'd undo that oil plug and just oil the track down. He said, get away from me. Like, that's exactly what he was getting ready to do. The green light came on, and he never got a chance to go out and do it, but he was going to oil the track down. So if I'm Marco Andretti, I loosen that oil plug, I go out there, take a couple of hot laps, and it's all over.
Oh, boy.
Got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, you got to play fair, though.
Says who, Bob?
What AJ says.
This will be the third and final attempt for Alex Lloyd. 223.4 and 217.9 have been his averages in the 2 runs earlier today.
Cards right there.
Have a second attempt yet. You get 3 attempts a day.
10 minutes.
You get 3 qualifying runs a day, and you get 3 attempts at each qualifying run.
Huh? Just 3 attempts.
I can wave the yellow again. And the next one we have to take it, and then we go to number 3. So we got 5 more runs.
What?
Yeah, well, he's saying just what I said. You can go out there and do 2 laps, but not take the flag, and then you can do it again.
Yeah.
You ran 1 and put it in the show, and then you got bumped off. This would be your 3rd attempt.
Hold on.
Yeah, they're just telling us right now this is our 3rd attempt, and if we don't qualify, that's it.
No, that's not right. You must take the flag for it to be an attempt.
But why is it our 3rd attempt? I waved the yellow last time. Ask them why it's an attempt. I waved the yellow last time.
Because you took the green
flag. You got bumped
yeah.
out. You were just out 15 minutes ago and ran 2 laps.
Right.
But we waved that attempt off. I thought we got.
You took the green
3.
flag.
Oh, you have to take the green
The
flag.
green flag is an attempt. You took the green flag. That's an attempt.
Let me go talk to Brian.
Dale, if we take the green flag, that's an attempt.
You don't get 3 runs to completion. A green.
Okay, bring it back.
Going back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
well, there you go.
Sure enough. Now, Dale Coyne knows
He's
that.
been around. That's what I was just going to say. He's been around for a long time.
That's what I was thinking.
Miller, I smell a conspiracy going on here.
I just want to confirm, Brian, this is our 2nd attempt, right? Well, you told me it was 2nd attempt. Yeah, because that's why we kept looking at our watch. Why are you presenting for your final attempt at 5:20?
Yeah.
Now we know why. They thought it was their 2nd.
Right. Yep. Once you take the flag, that counts as an official attempt. Got 1 more to go. Marco Andretti remains in his race car, hoping that he remains in the field when all is said and done this bump day. It is the racing capital of the world, and the goal is to win the Borg Warner Trophy. And in order to do so, you must get into the field. And we have 33 in the field right now, but about 32 minutes of qualifying remaining. One driver not in the field is Mike Conway. All right, let's take a look at who is in and who is not. There are the top 11. Alex Tagliani won the pole yesterday for his team owner Sam Schmidt at 227.472. Some veterans here in the top 11. The fastest rookie, James Hildebrand, will start 12th at 225.579. John Andretti at 17th. And then Jay Howard, another rookie, in 21st position. Thomas Schechter in 22nd. And the rest of the field as it stands right now. Tony Kanaan will start 23rd. Simona De Silvestro, who was one of our guests here in the booth earlier this afternoon, starting in 24th position. On the bubble is Marco Andretti. And there is Sam Schmidt, who has had a great month of May so far in Indianapolis, among other things, getting his driver Alex Tagliani on the pole for next Sunday's 500-mile race.
All right. This is an attempt for, well, maybe an attempt if we get a green flag. See, we're good.
Mike Conway going to try it again.
And this would be if he takes the green.
Right.
This is the first warm-up.
People may wonder why. Well, why would you go out and not take the green? You can get a very good feel for your race car on this warm-up lap to see, you know, where you're at if you want to take the green, if you have the speed to start your run.
The team, members of the team are situated at the north end of pit road, and they will show either the yellow or the green, which will indicate whether they want this as an official attempt to begin.
Trap speeds look fairly decent there, Jan.
For a warm-up lap, you know, 228 we saw there. See what he does.
Here we go. See, there, see on your right, there's a green flag displayed by the crew, and so the green flag comes out at the starter stand. This is an official attempt, and Mike Conway hoping to get back in the 500-mile field.
This is going to be his last shot. His speed turning into turn number 1 was nowhere near what he wanted.
And one of the reasons they may have gone now, you might argue, let's wait a little bit, but there are many cars waiting to pounce, so they decided we're going to go ahead and make sure we get an opportunity. Marco Andretti, if he gets bumped, is back here. Obviously, he's not going if he's in the field. Right behind him is Sebastian Saavedra. Then we have Rafa Matos a little bit further back and others. And what we're going to see is not only a race on track, but a race amongst the pit guys, physically pushing the car. Who can push it the quickest once somebody commits to get in the front of that line and get the proper position?
Pretty far off right now.
More than 2 miles an hour off.
Yeah, Mike Conway is
not going
to make the Indy 500 this year. Wow. And he's already backed off.
Yep, he's backed it down. Well, he had a great run going last year at the Indy 500 on the next to the last lap. Actually, after the leader had taken the white flag, he was involved in a horrible crash in turn number 3 when Ryan Hunter-Reay ran out of fuel. Was sidelined the entire remainder of the season last year, but came back with a win at Long Beach earlier this year on the street course. But Tom Anderson and his driver will not be in this year's Indianapolis 500 field. Mike Conway, unsuccessful. And one of the sponsors you'll see on the side pod there is Hire Heroes, a program to hire those who have served their country, but just wasn't to be for the young Englishman.
Fellas?
Yes.
I have a trivia question here. Who sat on the bubble the longest in the history of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
You mean many times?
No,
or
no.
Longest?
The longest period of time on Sunday sitting on the bubble.
Billy Boat?
Sure.
Really?
Jerry Sneva,
oh, okay.
1978, driving Sam Schmidt's dad's car. Marv Schmidt co-owned the Smock Special. Jerry Sneva qualified at 12:23. 17 guys tried to bump him. He made it. They packed him in ice, took him to the bar. He drank for 3 days, sobered up in time to get to Carb Day, and ran the Indy 500.
How about that? What a story.
Why do you got to pack him in ice, Robin?
Well, he smoked 7 packs of cigarettes in almost 6 hours, and he had some kind of catatonic state. I can't remember.
Well, the emotion is certainly showing on Mike Conway's face of not making this year's 500.
He is one of the most collected emotionally, but you can see there that even now, I mean, this is a crushing blow for him, especially when you consider his recovery, what he's gone through to get back here after that horrific crash.
Looking on the overall season, he was 5th in IZOD IndyCar Series points coming into the Indianapolis 500. A crushing blow points-wise for that young man.
And before the cars ever ran, if you're gonna take a bet from someone, if Andretti Autosport would miss with any of their drivers, you wouldn't have very many takers.
Yep, absolutely. Lindy asked him, and he waved off the interview. And again, we can understand that. So the track is going to go back to practice, and out goes Will Power, the driver who will start 5th in this year's 500 field.
Working on race setups, of course.
About 25 minutes to go. I would guess that in about 10 or 15 we would see another rush to the line, you think?
And it was surprising that Mike Conway decided to go when he did, but judging by his speed, it wouldn't have made any difference.
Yeah.
You know, you can gain maybe a mile an hour or something at the most. You know, whether that was some sort of strategic move to give more leadway for Marco, but it wasn't time of day that cost him. You know, Tom Anderson is one of the best, and he really, really thinks highly of Mike Conway, and I know he's going to be feeling like they let him down. Marty?
Well, guys, here's the debate for Marco Andretti, having a very long conversation with his dad, Michael Andretti, right now on the radio. The debate is they have 2 runs left. What they're worried about is that Sebastian Saavedra will go up to the line with 5 minutes left. If he beats them and knocks them out of the field, they're done out of the 500. Michael's point is go out, use one of our runs right now, then get back in line if we need to, and maybe beat Saavedra. So Marco is trying to make the point. If we do that, we pull out of the field. So a lot of debating going on. You can see Marco behind the wheel, using his hands, talking to his dad right now. Do we use one of the runs right now and take our time out of the field?
I think the only way you would do that, Marty, is if you're confident that you have the speed. But if you're not confident you have the speed, I don't think you take yourself out of the field.
Yeah, and that's the debate. I mean, can we run 224 plus? I don't know what the exact number is, but can we run that number? They think they can. Michael thinks they can. Marco thinks it's not a good idea to pull the time out since they're in.
And I would agree with that philosophy.
Absolutely.
I would too.
If they get the balance right, it could be a problem.
But on the other hand,
You need to be calm.
it is very possible that Sebastian Saavedra could pull into the line at 3 minutes until 6 o'clock and knock Marco out, and there's not a thing he can do about it.
But I just think when you withdraw your time and you go out there, you can have an electrical problem.
Yep.
I mean, anything could happen. It's just so risky to pull your time, and that's obviously the discussion that they're having.
2 of Michael Andretti's cars right now are on the back row. Ryan Hunter-Reay, 32nd, and Marco, 33rd.
I mean, from a drama perspective, if they pulled their time and he went for it, that'd be fun for us. But who's going in line?
James Jakes, guys, going in line right now.
Okay, thank you, Marty. James Jakes will try it again. This is Alex Lloyd's teammate with Coyne Racing. So as soon as he gets down to the end of the line, we will have the yellow light come on again. The cars will be called in, and James Jakes will try it again.
And then what Marco needs to do is decide when he wants to slide up behind Jakes and do that whole around the table kind of thing. You just want to be sure that I don't think James Jakes is going to bump him.
No, I don't either.
But again, you're trying to protect your position. If you could get in there and somehow prevent Saavedra from making a run.
And that's the guy he's got to worry about right now, because the first 2 laps he had were fast enough before he almost knocked the wall down coming off of 2. So if they fix the balance on that car, he's the guy.
It's funny, guys, you know, Wally and I certainly can identify this. We have kids who race, and so my son tells me this all the time. Marco's just told Michael, listen, you're stressing me out, dude. You need to calm down. Quit raising your voice to me. You're supposed to be calming me down. This is a tense moment. Don't raise your voice to me.
Marty, that's what Mike can say to my wife.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah.
Because she's the worst.
All the time. My son avoids me. I don't get it.
Oh, I do.
Oh, here comes this, I think.
That could be.
That's the defining car, I believe.
Yeah, this could be the most probable car to make the race.
And that's time-wise, that's about right. If you look at the time right now, you figure by the time Saavedra gets out there, it'll be maybe 10 till 6. That's close enough, I think.
If you're Marco, you got to slide right in behind him.
Definitely slide in behind Saavedra, yeah.
For sure. Don't let someone else get in there.
Yep.
And guys, Rafa Matos is going to beat him into line. So Rafa Matos will slide in behind Sebastian Saavedra. And so far, no movement from Marco Andretti's team.
Hey, fellas.
And They're now.
James Jakes earlier waved off his run after completing 3 laps and averaging 121.8.
And he would go now because it's his second attempt.
Right.
So
he had one more after this if he chooses to do so. Now Marco's rolling.
There you go. I still don't think he's going to run if he doesn't get bumped.
Oh, no.
Well, but even if he does he have enough time to make a run? He's what, 4th in line?
Well, that's another good point.
To be very close.
Yep, 20 minutes to go.
Hey, fellas.
Without incident, I think. Yes, Robin.
You know what you got to think about, too, is a team like Gary Peterson's and Rafa, I mean, this race means everything to them. They don't have much money to start with. They're kind of like the old throwback team that, I mean, this is everything. They've got to probably make this to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. We've already seen one series regular not make it in Mike Conway. Alex Lloyd, not a full-time member of the series, but that car is. James Jakes rolls away, and here we go with less than 20 minutes to go in qualifying on bump day at Indianapolis. Here comes Alex Lloyd back.
No, Alex Lloyd did his third.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no, he pulled out. That's right.
Right.
Yep, that was that whole.
Yep.
Now, does he have enough time? You know, we've focused a lot on Saavedra. You know, Lloyd. You know, let's not forget about Lloyd. He's been close.
It's Graham.
Hey guys, and also Ryan Hunter-Reay has jumped in line here. Also Graham Rahal has jumped in line. Anna Beatrice as well. More conversation over the radio between Andretti team here. And Marco just told his dad, listen, if you want me to take that second attempt before I will do it, we'll get back in line. Just tell me what you want me to do.
Wow.
The final few moments of Bump Day 2011 playing out here at Indianapolis. At the top of your screen, the clock is counting down from 17 minutes and 35 seconds to go. Green flag for James Jakes. 223.688 is what he needs. A high exit off of corner number 1.
Already in the red.
Yeah, normally when it starts there, it's hard to get it back to the green.
The key is the trend, and you see that number is incrementing. So that is not what James Jakes wants. In fact, this is going to be well shy. This will be a 221.
Yeah.
So nowhere near.
221.6. It's even slower than his earlier 3-lap wave off.
Oh, hits the wall just a little bit there coming off the tee.
He definitely brushed her.
Actually, that was in the short shoot, wasn't it? That was a little bit too big of an entry there.
Yeah. I think discretion is the better part of valor here. Pull him in and maybe get another shot.
Yep.
It's only attempt number 2. It's not worth.
There's just no way
when you have a 221, you're not going to get there.
Right.
Yeah, he'd have to run a couple 228s right now to average that out.
Yep. And that second lap was a little faster, still 221.903. He would probably benefit himself and his teammate if he pulled in, and they have waved him off. Yep, they've waved him off. So they will send the next car out immediately. Marty. Ooh, here is the replay of him. I think he touches it. Let's see.
Yeah, I believe you're right, Bob. I think he just gets it at the right rear.
There you go.
There's a little rubber spot there left on the wall, but not much.
Right.
There's an air cushion.
Yeah. So Marco remains in his race car.
Had 2 laps quicker than us.
Sebastian Saavedra had put 2 laps together a little bit earlier, good enough to get him in, but then he had a moment and really got sideways coming off the second quarter down the backstretch. If he can put 4 laps together, he may have a shot of getting in this race.
And you may have just overheard in the background Michael telling Marco he had 2 laps quicker than us last time. They're obviously well on top of it, and they've told Marco that information. This is going to be decision time. And they have to pre-decide, really.
I talked about his moment coming off of corner number 2. Look at that. Man, he was... Whew.
And the way that it snapped back, too. I mean, that was...
unusual. Usually it goes back too far.
Yeah, well, I mean,
one of those. Yeah.
You have to give him some credit for a nice save there. That wasn't just by accident.
Boy, he's awfully high again.
The 33rd starter last year.
When you heard Michael talking to Marco, that was from Marco's question, is this the guy we're in trouble with? I think if he puts 4 laps together, we could be in trouble. And you see Marco, he's looking to his right. He's actually watching it on TV and telling people, move out of the way. I want to see what's going on.
Green flag from Eric Bachelard, and the run is on for Sebastian Saavedra. This could be a successful run. We'll keep our eyes on him.
3rd attempt, so this will be it.
Good exit off of corner number 2 this time.
Just losing time, though.
Tracker says that it's not good enough. Going to be shy by about 0.2 of a second. Let's see what lap number 1 has. It is 221.680, not nearly fast enough by 2 miles an hour.
So Marco's got to get out of line.
Yep.
It's too risky.
I thought he already backed off.
Yep. And so that attempt is unsuccessful. Rafael Matos will be next.
We're all with you, Rafa. We're all with you.
It's Neil Mickelwright on the right, talking to Rafael Matos, a tremendous amount of experience, worked for Forsyth Racing with Paul Tracy and many others for many years. Helped put this team together. The anxiety here is that Rafael Matos, when we spoke to him earlier, did not display a lot of confidence that they knew where the speed was. That they thought they had rolled out their best setup, and it just wasn't there.
And guys, earlier, Marco was worried about Sebastian Saavedra. Michael was worried about Rafa Matos. He said, this is the one I think we got to worry about. What they're going to do is warm up Marco's car here just in case. They're going to warm it up, but obviously if he does not get knocked out, they will pull him out of line. You hear the car crank. They're ready to go if they need to, but they're hoping to be able to just pull out of line after this run, Bob.
His 2 earlier attempts were 223.2 and 222.5, so that is not good enough to make it. 2 previous starts here at the Indianapolis 500 for Rafael Matos.
Looking at the trap speed there, Jan, it looks like he's quite a bit off going into 3. Still coming for the green, but
all right. So this will be it.
Yep. 3rd attempt is underway for Rafael Matos from Brazil.
the warm-up was a little bit slow.
Also slow into one.
Tracker says not good enough, but it appears as if he is
very close.
Pretty close.
He's
yeah.
gaining. He's starting.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
He was starting to gain a little speed. That would definitely scrub some off.
Okay, let's see what lap number 1 is.
It's only going to be 2:22.6.
5.86. Yep.
Guys made the call. Marco Andretti pulling out of line. They're pulling out of line for that first lap.
I think Marco has survived this onslaught.
Which shows the wisdom. Don't pull the time until you have to.
Yep. So they're pulling Marco's car out of line, and I'm sure they will Ryan Hunter-Reay, who was right behind him in the qualifying line.
So the attention would be to Lloyd, would it not?
Yes, guys, Alex Lloyd will be the next car that will have a chance to qualify.
And then at that point, will Marco even have time to defend?
Good question.
Because the round robin, you know, you got to get yourself back in the queue.
Yep.
That's the interesting point, Jan, because James Jakes is in line behind Alex Lloyd. Will that give Marco Andretti enough time if one of these guys bumps him out?
I feel bad for Rafael Matos and this team.
Yes.
They obviously, you know, Robin Miller had talked earlier about how important this is for them. They gave it everything they had.
And the third lap, 220.791. So he has realized that it's not to be this year. Another series regular does not make the 2011 running of the 500. Yellow is out. Yeah, it was. It was all that the car and the driver had.
Basically, we race director called off our run. We weren't going to be able to beat the front part way in, so they called it off to save time for us.
Keep this in mind as Alex Lloyd goes out. James Jakes, his teammate, beat Marco Andretti back in line. Say, for example, Lloyd has a successful qualifying run and bumps Marco Andretti. We don't really think James Jakes has enough speed, but he could essentially serve as a block. He could go out, take up some time. They'd wave him off after a lap or two. But will Marco have enough time and opportunity to get another attempt if Jakes goes out after his teammate, Alex Lloyd?
Oh, boy.
Now, don't forget that Alex Lloyd finished this race 4th.
That's right.
Last year. I mean, he knows his way around here.
He had a very, very good race, but this is his last shot at it. 223.4 and 217.9. Just 2 runs earlier today.
Well, the timing is good. 7 minutes to go.
Yep.
So if there's anything in this car, the time of day is good.
Yesterday, he ran 223.7. So the speed is there in the car, or at least it was yesterday.
Green flag, Alex. Green flag.
The run is on.
Nice big entry.
Every driver is reminded a nice big entry.
It's a little bit red. Let's see if it goes higher or lower. Staying at 0.025. Oh, it goes green.
Uh-oh.
All right. This is the kind of start that Alex Lloyd wants. Now 0.044.
Oh, man. Alex Lloyd comes down to complete lap number 1. This could be a bump of Marco Andretti. Lap number 1 complete. Let's see if it's good enough. Yes, it is. 223.732.
And Marco knows that because James Jakes got in front of him, he may not have an opportunity to defend. But Alex Lloyd still has to finish this.
Yes, exactly. He's got to put 3 more of these together. Very difficult. But he's very fast off of turn 2 and down the backstretch.
He's faster.
And guys, you can see Marco shaking his head in the car. Michael told everyone, get the car ready. Marco just said to Michael, are we going to have enough time? I don't think we will.
All right.
Good job, buddy. 2 more like that. 2 more like that. Doing awesome. Keep it up.
Halfway through the run, lap 2. 2:23.905. He's got less than 2 laps to go. Marco may be out of the 500.
That's real. I'll tell you.
Buddy. Nice big entry. Nice big entry.
These guys have done an incredible job with this car if they can keep it up. I mean, they have thrown a lot of different setups on that thing today to try to find the speed. Plus, they're hitting the racetrack at the ideal time.
Looks like another 223.9. He's keeping it consistent.
Just like that. Do it.
Yeah.
1 lap to go. Lap number 3, 224.114.
You can hear the crowd that's stuck through the rain showers, and they're not being disappointed. Alex Lloyd in the final moments trying to get in.
Less than 4.5 minutes to go before qualifying is over. Alex Lloyd sets up for turn 3.
He's been very fast off of 4 both laps, all 3 laps.
1 more turn to go. Here he is on the front stretch.
It's another 224. I think he's got it.
My checkered flag waves. Lap number 4. 224.078. Average 223.957. And Alex Lloyd has bumped Marco Andretti from the starting lineup.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Dale Coyne, the car owner. Oh. Samantha, his wife. Oh, what a run by Alex Lloyd. And while
that team earned that, right?
Yes,
those guys
did
a
Alex.
great job.
They trimmed it out, and he delivered.
Oh.
Are we safe by a spot?
You're safe by
a few.
Yes.
Yeah, you're safe
by quite a few.
Yeah.
Ryan Hunter-Reay is now on the bubble. James Jakes is on the racetrack. But now remember, we've got about 3 minutes to go, and if they see that he is not fast enough to get into the lineup, they'll wave him off and allow Marco to go out onto the racetrack.
I think the officials, we've already had precedents. If he's not up to speed, they'll pull him off, but they kind of, in a way, have to at least to give him a chance to do 1 under green. I don't know that you'd wave one off on a warm-up lap.
Yeah, Yana, just talked to Brian Barnhart about that. They're going to give him 2 laps here to see if he can get up to speed. Then they'll make the determination.
Wow.
2 green or 2 warm-up?
I would have to assume 2 green.
Yeah, well,
2 laps,
at
yes.
2 green, he might be out of time.
Green flag comes out. James Jakes on his 3rd attempt today. Needs a 223.690 to get into the field. If Marco does get into the field, he's going to bump his teammate Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Tell you what, Jakes is pretty close right now. Losing a little time there.
But certainly not close enough. It's drifted. It's going to be in the 221 range.
Yep, 221.468, not nearly fast enough.
Which means that Marco Andretti should get a shot.
Correct. Brian Barnhart just told the guys, go ahead and crank it up. He gave them the okay sign. Marco Andretti will get 1 shot.
But can you imagine how Marco Andretti, if he does get into the race, is going to bump out Ryan Hunter-Reay from the field? A minute and a half to go in qualifying at Indianapolis for the 2011 Indianapolis 500-mile race. And they will wave off the attempt, I assume. Brian said they would.
Still green.
Yeah. The second lap is a little slower, though, than the first. So the run is aborted, we think.
Well, not yet. They should throw the lights about here.
And the gun is about to go off in less than 1 minute. The yellow does come on. Jakes off the racetrack. Marco Andretti goes on with 50 seconds to go. Oh my goodness.
Well, what this means is that Marco Andretti's either going to make the race or Ryan Hunter-Reay is going to make the race. So it is going to be one of those two from the same stable. One will be in and one will be out. Ryan Hunter-Reay obviously will not have a chance to defend. The Indy 500 is in the hands of his teammate right now.
The gun will go off in 15 seconds. Marco Andretti comes off corner number 4 on his first warm-up lap. Counting down to the gun. There it is. Qualifying is over. Marco Andretti, the last to take a shot at getting back into the field. Will he be successful, or will his teammate Ryan Hunter-Reay be in?
Ryan Hunter-Reay is at a 2:23.69. Oh, this is what we've been talking about. That was which gear do I use? 5th is the choice of Michael.
And that was the debate. Marco thought 4th was the right call. Michael just made the call 5th, and Marco said, whatever you tell me, Dad, I'll do.
Green flag. Green flag is out. Here we go. 4 laps to determine the final starter in this year's 500 field.
Good right there.
The warm-up lap was 2:23.2.
And he's ahead.
Yeah.
He's ahead at the moment. Well ahead.
Good straightaway speed there at the end of the backstretch.
232.5 miles an hour into turn 3.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay sort of knows what's happening. Here's the completion of the first lap. Marco Andretti's lap 1. 224.728. Way good enough to get into the field.
It was his fastest ever into turn 1. His personal best, 227.8 on this end of the racetrack. It's a 232.5 this time.
Wow. The 2006 Rookie of the Year here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, finishing second that year. Halfway through the run, 2 down, 2 to go, 224.481 is lap number 2. Still good enough to bump Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Car looks awfully good.
You still have to finish. It looks like he has it in the bag, but you have to bring it home. Remember the Target Ganassi team in a similar situation, 2 cars running out of fuel.
That's right.
Ho Pin Tung looked like he was in. All of a sudden, final lap crashed.
Here he is on the straightaway, taking the white flag.
White flag, white flag.
One more tour of the 2.5-mile oval for Marco. 224.576, just a little bit faster on lap number 3 than lap 2.
And he's even faster into turn 1, 228.3, so he's certainly not backing off. He's even faster yet.
Ryan Hunter-Reay and Becky Gordon, his fiance, on your right. Realizes that if Marco can bring it through corner number 4 and successfully take the checkered flag, he will get into the race. Marco Andretti survives a painstaking afternoon. The checkered flag drops, and Marco Andretti does indeed get into the field with a 224.628 miles an hour. He'll start inside row number 10. Marty is with Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Well, a hug from Paul Tracy and Graham Rahal. How helpless is that feeling, Ryan? Can you describe it?
It's a matter of timing. We were just sitting there in line. We had going on what Marco did. We were going to go out for another one if anybody bumped us, and we just ran out of time. We were on the unlucky end of that. I can't even fathom this at the moment. You know, I've been saying all week, this team has great race cars, and if we just get in the race, we'll be contenders. And now here we are. I mean, this matters. This is what matters most to me and to this team, and it's just heartbreaking. my teammate bumped me out. You know, that's not ideal.
Does that make it worse?
That's just, yeah, it's hard for the team. Mike didn't make it. You know, Sundrop and DHL deserve a win, and we've been super fast this year. And this is bad though. You know, this isn't good. We gotta rebound from this somehow. But I don't know. I can't even comprehend it at the moment.
As competitive as this team has been, was this even on the radar coming to Indianapolis?
It was on the radar since we rolled off the truck. Yeah, we've got an issue, but it's what teams do. They go back, work on it, and resolve it, and so that's what we'll do. You know, I've got a lot of faith in these guys. I think our deficit was before we got here, so we need to work on that. The work we did here at the Speedway, we found quite a bit of speed, but we can only do so much with it. So I don't know. I don't even know what to think right now.
Surprise and devastation for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He does not make the 500, Kevin.
But Marco Andretti does. Wow. You didn't think you were going to get a chance. I was listening to your radio.
Yeah, all we wanted was a chance. You know, I have all the faith in the world in my guys. You know, it's a bummer that we were in this position, but, you know, we were plenty quick enough yesterday. It's just the circumstances that that put us in this position. But, hey, I said we could do it from 33rd, but we could definitely do it from here.
You and your dad had a pretty good debate going, and I think he summarized it. There is no right answer when you're thinking about pulling a time and trying to go again.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it looked for a while like it was up to Mother Nature, but, you know, we needed to get bumped in order to really justify going out. You know, we don't want to look bad, but, you know, it was either going to be in the wall or in the show, so that's what we have to do.
Your family has had certainly some success here, also a lot of heartache. Were you guys due to finally get something to go, at least for not all the team's way, but at least from the family's way today?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a bummer that we were in this position, but I'm grateful to be in the greatest spectacle in racing. But tell you what, this Venom car is coming to the front.
All right, we'll see if he can do it. One of the Andretti Autosport cars with Tony Kanaan did it last year. Can Marco do it this year? Lindy is with Michael Andretti.
Michael, your son makes it in at the expense of one of your other drivers. Where does this day rank in the most difficult at Indy for you?
As an owner, it's the worst ever. You know, I've had some pretty tough ones as a driver, as you know. But as an owner, it's the worst ever. I just feel so bad for Ryan and Mike. I mean, DHL, they've been such a great supporter, and not to have them in the field. I mean, it breaks my heart. But on the other side, I'm so happy for Marco and the whole Venom Energy guys. They hung in there all day, and he did a hell of a job there to pull it out there in the end. But it's really a tough day.
What can you say to Mike and Ryan?
I don't know what to say. I feel so bad. I don't know. I mean, I don't have words to say it. I don't know. Sorry.
Michael, thank you. Bob?
That's the thrill of victory and agony of defeat,
yeah,
all in the same team.
Yeah, right. Marco experiences the thrill of victory, but Ryan Hunter-Reay the agony of defeat, as he will not make this year's Indianapolis 500 field, but Marco Andretti is in. Back with Indy in just a moment.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Marco Andretti makes it in the field. Alex Lloyd makes it in the field as well. Whew, man, the last 15 minutes have been crazy. Where did you find all that speed?
I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I mean, we came back out and we didn't have the car that we wanted. We didn't have the grip we needed, and the guys made some tire pressure changes. Is all we had time for, to try and get me a little bit more grip so I could try and work on the tools inside the car. And I mean, it's one of those ones. The first lap surprised me with the speed, and I thought, all right, we have a shot here. I mean, and at that point, there was no way I was going to lift. I mean, you know, we're either in the wall or we're going to make the show. I mean, I got as brave as I could with the tools to try and get as much understeer, try and free the car up as much as we could go. We had a little issue with the oil temperature really rose in the engine. The engine started shaking, literally shaking the last two laps.
What lap?
On the third lap. I couldn't see, the first lap I couldn't see out the car. My vision was gone because the engine was shaking so much. I think I rated it and said, the engine's going to blow. We're not going to make it round. Somehow, I guess all credit to Honda, the thing, it carried on. We got the lap in, and I mean, I didn't know to start with. I wasn't sure how safe I was rating, and are we safe? Are we safe? Nobody really answered me. I saw the guys kind of screaming and dancing, and when I got out of the car, I mean, I'm not an emotional kind of guy, but that really got to me. And you know, it's Indianapolis. It's the greatest race in the world. It's what I'm here in Indianapolis for. It's what I get up in the world. This is what I want to do with my career. Is, you know, the IndyCar Series, yes. Indianapolis, absolutely. That's what I'm here for. And after a great race last year, that obviously felt amazing to finish 4th. Just to get in 31st position on the grid and make it in those last few minutes is, you know what, it's a better feeling. It's a better feeling than finishing 4th to be in the race, because that's how much this race actually means to me.
Be honest with me. As you left pit road, what did you think your chances were?
5% chance of getting in. Maybe,
wow,
maybe
really?
not even that. Maybe not even that. I was at the 1-2%. I did not. There's that little bit inside you that says, I'm going to give it every last little bit I've got. I never gave up total hope, but we did a dummy run just before we pulled it in line, and we were nowhere near quick enough. And we made very subtle changes, but you know what? The crew guys, the Boy Scouts America guys did just enough that we were able to get it to where I could work on it in the car. And we found some speed. We found some of the speed that we had in previous days that for some reason we've been losing the last couple of days. I don't know exactly where that came from, but all I know is that it was a pretty awesome. Thanks, John.
Handshake from Tony Kanaan. And as you got that first lap time, did you get more determined? Were those the most determined laps you've ever driven in your life?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a feeling you can't really explain, but it's the feeling of just that absolute never going to give up. And it's the thought of, not just for me or for my family, it's for all the guys, the crew guys, their family. The emotion that it would go through if we didn't make the race, I didn't want to see my guys do that. So it was nerve-wracking. It was stressful. Not scared. You don't get scared in those situations, but it was absolutely on the edge. But you know what? That's what we live for.
We just saw a very happy Marco Andretti. Is there a way to describe the emotion of bump day when you're on the outside looking in?
I don't think I've ever felt emotion like this in my life. You know, and I've had many good things in my life, achievements in my racing career, outside of my racing career, but God, when we got told that we were safe, just a flood of emotion, like deep in the pit of your stomach, that is hard to explain, but something happened when I crossed that line that really made me realize what this race is all about. And I knew what it was all about. I mean, this is, to me, this most special place in the world. But hey, I got a big appreciation for it today. You know, getting in this race, and more importantly, the risk of not being in this race and feeling what that might feel like, it makes you appreciate this place. So I'm so excited to be in, and I can't wait for race day.
The emotions we've seen today, guys. Alex Lloyd on the good end of it, very happy to be in the 500. Remember last year, raced his way to the front, Bob.
Oh boy, what a great day for Alex Lloyd and the Dale Coyne team. Mike Conway, Ryan Hunter-Reay, James Jakes, Rafael Matos, Sebastian Saavedra, Scott Speed, and Ho Pin Tung were the drivers who did not make this year's running of the 500. But we do have a full field of 33, and we will review the starting lineup for the Centennial Celebration Indianapolis 500. The emotions of Bump Day are over. The field is set for this year's Indianapolis 500-mile race. The first row will consist of Alex Tagliani, Scott Dixon, and Oriol Servia, one former winner in the front row, Scott Dixon. The second row, Townsend Bell, Will Power, and Dan Weldon. In row number 3, it'll be Buddy Rice, another former winner, Ed Carpenter, and two-time winner of the 500, Dario Franchitti.
Takuma Sato, as we heard earlier, at least in Thomas Schechter's opinion, one of the bravest drivers out there, and J.R. Hildebrand, the fastest rookie.
The fifth row will have another rookie, James Hinchcliffe, on the inside with Bertrand Baguette and Davey Hamilton. And row number 6, there you will find Elio Castroneves, and again, a little bit of a surprise yesterday during pole day that he was not among the fastest 9 that was in the pole shootout. Row number 7 for Sunday's race, Bruno Junqueira, Justin Wilson, and Jay Howard, who makes the show for the first time. Thomas Schechter, Tony Kanaan, and Simona De Silvestro in row number 8. The 9th row, and here's where we get to the drivers who made it in today. Paul Tracy, the quickest, then Danica Patrick and Ryan Briscoe. The 10th row will consist of Marco Andretti, Charlie Kimball, and Graham Rahal, and in row number 11, it's Alex Lloyd, Pippa Mann, and Anna Beatrice. Lindy is with Rafael Matos.
When it comes to not making the field for this centennial race, are there even any words to describe it for you?
Not really. This is for sure one of the most frustrating moments in my career. You know, very disappointed we didn't make, but hats off to the AFS crew. The guys did an amazing job giving me a car that I could fight until the last minute. You know, Gary Peterson had the commitment and brought his team to the biggest race of the planet, and here we are fighting with the best out of the best in the planet, with the best drivers, the best teams, and we fought very hard, and I'm very proud of everyone in this team. You know, all we have to do now is keep our heads up, regroup ourselves, and go to the next one. It's races like that sometimes.
What do you attribute this to? Was the weather a big part of it, or was it just not happening for you?
It was just a combination of a lot of things. You know, our program came very late into the season, and you know, we came to the first race with from the first race with a great result, 7th place in St. Petersburg, and that certainly gave a big boost to the team. And we came here with a lot of confidence. We made a lot of improvements in the car for this race, but it takes a lot more to be successful in this place. This is a very tricky place. We have to be very prepared, and we'll learn from it. And this was a big lesson for us, from me, for everyone in the team. And it's unfortunate. Everyone is sad in the team, you know. Like I said, let's keep our heads up and go to the next one.
And we will see Rafa at the road courses, and Kevin possibly Texas.
And we'll also see Sebastian Saavedra there, but unfortunately not this year's Indianapolis 500. Last year, he celebrated making the race from Methodist Hospital. After qualifying, he crashed, got bumped, got put back in bizarre circumstances. This year, unfortunately, you could not race your way in. What's the feeling like?
Big disappointment. You know, it's a very harsh feeling that gets very inside you, and it's lots of different feelings as well. As you know, these guys put everything. You know, the complete 34 crew and Conquest Racing just gave it all. There was not 100th that we could find, and it feels bad. I feel very sad. Of course, there was a situation I was never expected to be in. But it happens, you know. It's one of those races that you gotta leave in the past. Just look forward. It's very early on the championship, and just look for the next one, right?
Last year, the 500 was your only guaranteed IndyCar race. Any consolation, and at least you're a full season guy. You're going to be back in the car in a couple of weeks.
It's true, you know. As I say, it is an Indy 500. You know, it's the biggest race in the world. It's just unbelievable to just be around. Unfortunately, I won't be doing the race, but we gotta take it as another race. You know, next in 2 weeks we will be again in the car, trying to give it another shot, trying to do a better job, and be again trying to get some points for the championship. That's at the end what we're here for. It's unfortunate. It's something that, as I say, we were not expecting, and I gotta say, thank you to all these guys. You know, they were unbelievable. They didn't sleep during the last 2 days, just putting the car together, like just working and looking for everything. So it's just, I don't know, it's not another race.
All right, thanks. Bob, I'm always amazed at race car drivers. After bitter disappointments, fiery crashes, they almost always get out and talk to us. Simply amazing.
Yeah, and it is indeed a sad day for Sebastian Saavedra and others who did not make the field for this year's Indianapolis 500. Our closing comments when we come back.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on what has been a crazy bump day, and for a long time today, Danica Patrick was not in the field. And I have good news for you. Day's over. You're in. Still. Are you glad it's over?
I'm going to relax in an adult fashion later.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
You should, exactly. Because we're all going to do it too. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, there's, you know, I don't want to get too excited because number one, I really wished I'd do better than this. But number two is there's people on this team that didn't make it. And that's a shame. That shouldn't even be the situation. I remember when we were going for the top 11. I remember when we had 5 in the top 11.
Yeah.
And now we're just trying to get them all in and didn't. And so I feel really bad for Mike and Ryan. you know, my goal today on a higher note was to try and win Sunday. And PT beat me out in the overall win, but they took it from me.
You won 10 grand, which you were proud of. You were trying to prominently place it in the garage.
And since 2005, since I've actually had a big check to put out, and they just took it away. But I can understand why. It's been a tough day for half the team. So, but we got fastest lap of the day in qualifying, so we kind of won a little bit on Sunday. Yeah. So it's a shame we didn't do it yesterday, and we couldn't have just gotten this done, but we didn't. And the GoDaddy car had to hit the track many more times and try and figure out the qualifying thing. But I'm just relieved, you know. I'm just relieved. I'm going to be in the 100th running of the Indy 500, and anything can happen.
Was that the hardest hour and a half of your life, sitting there waiting for the rain, sitting in the car with all of us staring at you as well?
You know, when I was the last time it rained, I really, you know, I thought to myself, I started actually coming to terms with it a little bit and thought, you know, this day just keeps coming at me. Maybe it's not my day. Maybe it's not supposed to be my day. Maybe God has a bigger plan for me. But you know, just kept my heart in it and kept working hard, and everybody did. And we have a lot to learn from this event, but we still have the Indy 500 to run next weekend, so we're gonna focus on that for now.
All right, we appreciate your time. Now go focus on race for the rest of the week and a half.
Starting tomorrow.
Starting tomorrow. There you go. Danica Patrick in the field, guys, and very happy about it.
Thanks very much, Marty. Well, can we put a star on the story of the day? I don't think so. There were so many.
Well, it was pretty interesting. This last 6 hours felt like 6.5 hours. But, you know, I think Danica did a really good job keeping her composure. I think that was one of the probably the most difficult situation a driver would be in, when you're sitting there, it starts raining, you don't know you're going to get another shot, and Tracy has your spot because the car didn't go through tech. I think she did a really good job in that situation. I do. I also think Alex Lloyd's team did a really nice job making all those changes and getting that thing in the race.
Yeah, Alex Lloyd certainly would get the star for me, but don't forget about Paul Tracy. Right. Paul Tracy had the fastest time of the day, and it was starting to rain. That was awesome.
Lots of stories both yesterday and today here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but it is over, and now the field is set for the 500-mile race. And I think we mentioned yesterday how we've got some major contenders that are starting in the second half of the field next Sunday.
And we've got a lot of contenders up front that don't run but this race. Once, you know, and it's really interesting to see some of the guys up in the top half of this field that they can sneak in here and win a race. It could be a new winner.
Most of those who were bumped out, there were a couple at the bottom that were not. Scott Speed, Ho Pin Tung, those were not season regulars, but the rest of those who did not make the race were season regulars. So, wow, that was shocking.
And a few of them that were up there in points, but unfortunately they will not get any points for running the 500-mile race this year. Two areas of rain moved over the speedway today, interrupting the activity. It all began with a crash with Carpentier. He's okay, but that team pretty much was wiped out. But then we had the bump day qualifying, and it all came down to Marco Andretti getting into the starting field in the last moment of the day. Now we're ready for the Centennial Indianapolis 500 a week from today, and you can see it, of course, on ABC. Great bump day, good pole day here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Cycling action is coming up next, the Tour of California. Lindy, Kevin, and Robin will be here Tuesday at 4 o'clock for IndyCar Open Wheel Weekly, and we'll be back Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern for Carb Day. For more information on the Eyes on IndyCar series, log on to NBCSports.com. Our congratulations to all 33 who have made the field for the 2011 Indianapolis 500. It has been our pleasure to bring you the qualifications both yesterday and today. We'll see you next Friday for Carb Day at 11 o'clock Eastern Time from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So long, everyone.